Good morning, and we serve you breakfast.
Not just any breakfast.
Sizzling helping.
And there's much more on offer on GTV breakfast.
So what's your pleasure than Votras here at that time of the morning?
You want it served buffet style, complimentary breakfast,
On-site restaurant,
or room service?
we've got you covered.
From Monday to Friday at 6 a.m.
With a trusted team.
So never skip breakfast.
On GTV breakfast.
Oh
Yes. Good morning. And how are you doing?
Yeah,
Hima.
fine.
What is it
They
saying?
say it's Dachi Hima.
Hey.
So I'm not there yet. I'm a queen in waiting.
Okay. Dachi Hima.
In Ashanti culture, I'm a queen, but in Ga culture, I'm already a queen.
Okay, so you are queen in waiting. Who are you
In
waiting?
Ashanti.
Who are you waiting for?
I don't know. The Ashantis will tell me.
But I like your duku, man. When was the last time you went
I don't know. I've never.
It's first time.
First time wearing duku on it.
See the forehead come out. You know.
Hey, forehead gang. Good
Shining.
morning. All those
Shining like a
pointed forehead.
It's a,
Oh, nah.
yes.
If you don't have forehead and you wear duku,
You look like a funky regal school teacher with your glasses and your forehead and your.
Eh? All the stuff that's going on my head.
Good morning. Good to have you here. It's the Ashanti Culture Week right here on GTV Breakfast. But it is Kafui Day, and she's Thelma Taki, and Valerie Danso is in the corner somewhere. For the show, it's going to be wonderful, and there's a lot in the news.
Yep.
And I understand that this
Ghana card.
this card one day become a passport.
It is already.
It's already
you
a passport.
can travel to West African countries with this.
Yes. So, but it's going to be accepted in thousands of airports around the world.
Yay.
Pretty soon. I was listening to the vice president.
Yep.
Yeah. So hey, interesting stuff.
We're
Digitalization and
We're
make the
taking
economy, taking the economy to a whole new level.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm excited
It's a
because
difference.
we are in an age where we need to catch up with the times. And if digitization is what will take us there, let's do it.
Okay. All right. We will be going to Kumasi on our show. We're into the Old Maisha Palace, and Alan, who has had his fill of apese and all kinds of things
Yeah,
in
enjoy
the
it.
morning, will be giving us the rundown on what's going on over there. What else do we have?
We have conversations around sanitizing the mining sector when we sit down to have our regular Wednesday morning talks with the Commission. Today we are being joined by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. So we're looking at all the ways in which they are helping us to win the fight against galamsey.
Okay, yeah. So issues of mining, land, what you should know. It's right here on the show. We're looking at also erectile dysfunction. It's
Yep.
happening. It didn't function yesterday.
It didn't.
But
You see,
it will function today.
just by definition,
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But it's working this morning.
Yeah, it's a serious issue for a lot of people. And going into the nitty-gritties, building up to that conversation. It's a hard conversation for some people, but these are conversations that must be had. So, conversation on erectile dysfunction coming up in about 13 minutes. I enjoyed yesterday's conversation that Valerie had with KKD.
Oh, yes.
Yes, he's very eloquent and he
He
has a lot on his mind.
He does. Even after the program, we sat in the studio for, well, over an hour, I
Yeah.
should think, just talking about stuff and just listening to him, just sitting there like,
And you know one thing he did? So he got into the studio and we were on air, and I was observing because I was sitting up on the stairs having my breakfast. And he came in and he greeted everybody. He greeted all the camera people. You know, just-
went round,
Yeah, went
spoke to
round.
every
and yes,
single
yes.
person.
And our social media guy Paul said the only other person who did that was Jim Ike. When Jim Ike also came in, he came in and he greeted everybody before he sat down. You know, so that kind of getting the
People-
relationships, the
yeah,
people
the
skills,
people
very
factor.
powerful.
People factor
And of
is
course,
right.
they are the ones who are shooting and giving you good angles, so or bad angles. So if you go and greet them, then they give you good shots.
they get your good side.
My camera guy is always so. The guy you don't give them good shots. They give you good shots.
Otherwise they pick your bad side.
Exactly. Yeah.
You want them to pick your good side. We'll also have a conversation about what the CSIR is doing with technology for waste management.
Okay.
You know, the Vice President spoke about digitization and where it's taking us. The whole technology thing has a lot in there. So when it comes to waste management, there's the technologies that we can take advantage of to take us to the next level.
All right.
So we are trying to bring all the waste down. We're trying to decommission landfill sites. We're trying to get into recycling and sorting waste from home before they even get to the treatment facilities. And there are technologies that can help us with that. The CSIR has one such technology, and we'll be looking at what it is later on in the program.
Okay. And what happens if you make a lot of money? You marry a beautiful woman, you put all the property in her name, and then you break up.
She keeps.
There's somebody in the trends who did exactly that. What happened to his property? We shall find out pretty soon. This is GTV Breakfast, show brought to you by so many wonderful partners. We've got Lufap for the health conversation, Etel Tigo for the yellow couch conversations, and Adonko Next Level energy drink, Shield acrylic paint, and there's another guy. Awake purified drinking water. We've got Naviki for the Fugu
Savida.
watches.
Okay. Savida provided our kente, and we were dressed beautifully by Rate Cultural. Follow them on social media. Savida Bonre Kente is on Instagram, and you can follow Rate Cultural on Facebook, Instagram, and on other social media networks. We want you to follow those handles.
Okay. And the cling, 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 cling you hear is Valerie with the entire Obwasi goldfish on her body. And she... go ahead. Cling, cling.
Hi.
It's just a lot of clings.
Yes, so good morning from this side.
Forehead gang.
Good morning, good morning. So we'll be, we are celebrating the Ashanti Cultural Week this week. We started on Monday. We're going to be keeping an eye this time from the old Minchia Palace with our guy Alan, who's already on standby, probably enjoying some fufu. And then also we'll be rushing hour looking at what traffic looks like at the Swami roundabout. And then also we'll be looking at stuff that's trending. What are in your trends? Do you know why those are trending? And then later on, the site is sponsored by Airtel Tigo, which is the yellow couch. I'll be hosting a gentleman. Every Wednesday here on the breakfast show, we unearth talents. So we have a young budding talent, and his name is Tino G8. You should look forward to that conversation. The hashtag to follow is GTV Breakfast, hashtag Ashanti Cultural Week on all our social media platforms. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, and then you can get interactive with us on our Twitter and our Instagram. The number to send your messages to is 055-556-1034.
Charlie, look, Valerie looks like you look like a beautiful gown princess with a touch of Ashanti and then some Indian vibe too. You don't look Indian to me today, Charlie.
It's the yellow.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste, Wahala.
Welcome to the show. The wisdom nugget is on belief. Believe, all right? Believe. We'll be back after this. Namaste.
It's exciting for me as always to get to serve you the wisdom nugget for the day, because a nugget a day keeps the problems away. Today we're talking about a nugget that I want to call this like the secret magic of great success in life. It's like a magical power that helps you succeed in your life. It is the secret, powerful, operational place in our lives that we don't see with our eyes, but it literally controls most of the things that happens to us. It is our beliefs. Our beliefs. Our beliefs drive the results we see in life. What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about the country? What do you believe about your giftings? What do you believe about money, for instance? There are people that believe that, money is bad, or money is everything, or people have different kinds of beliefs about money. People have different kinds of beliefs about, for instance, God. People have different kinds of beliefs about themselves. What do you believe in? What are your beliefs? Your beliefs is like the magical power that is able to help you achieve whatever you want to achieve. Because if you believe you can do something, for instance, you're going to be able to do it, or at least you're going to make the effort to doing it. But if you believe you cannot do something, that doesn't matter how much or how many resources we throw at you, you're never going to be able to do it. And so the difference is not in the resources around us. The difference is in our beliefs. As you go to today, ask yourself and, sometimes audit yourself or investigate yourself and try to check out the things that you believe in. Because for many people, their beliefs are quite faulty, or their beliefs are quite negative, or their beliefs kind of hinder them from achieving the things they want to achieve. So they have big dreams, but their belief system is very counterproductive. What do you believe in? Work on your beliefs. Make sure that your beliefs are positive. And one of the things you need to believe in, you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe that you can do it. It doesn't matter, growing up, the people that told you were a failure and the people that told you can't make it. One of my greatest heroes is Albert Einstein. And Einstein was one of those young people in school whose teacher told him he was dumb. And yet Einstein probably has gone down history as one of the most intelligent people that ever lived. He's one of the few people whose brains is actually kept in a laboratory up to today for people to study the brain, to see how the brain of a very intelligent person looks like. And guess what? He was a person who, when he was young, was told nothing good will come out of. And if he had not been determined to change his belief system, he wouldn't have become the Einstein that we all know today. Maybe you are the next Einstein, or you may not be an Einstein, you may be something else. But you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe in the things you're working towards. You need to ensure that your belief systems are positive, adding value to you, and accelerating the progress of your life. Go through today, remembering the power of belief. Use your belief positively to advance your life. I wish you a lovely day, and I look forward to seeing you again on the Wisdom Nugget for your day.
Thanks for joining us. We're still celebrating Ashanti Cultural Week on GTV Breakfast this week. We started on Monday, and so we've been dressing to reflect portions of the Ashanti culture. And this outfit was provided to us by Savida Bonre Kente, who were styled by Ritz Cultural. You can find them on social media. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. The numbers to call are right there. Get in touch and benefit from their services when you need. We are looking into social media trends, and we want to quickly touch on the Vice President's speech yesterday about technology and digitization and all the good that Ghana can get from maximizing its digitization. We're excited about that.
Yes, I caught a bit of it last night. And
which one stood out for you?
So there are 5 digital projects that the Vice President talked about that have been implemented by this administration. First of which is the Ghana card. We've also got the digital address system that was implemented, that's being used. The mobile money interoperability, so you can use mobile money between the various networks. The 4th one would be the digitization of the passport office, and how easy it is these days with the elimination of the Goro boys to get your passport, and the introduction of the Ghana.gov platform, which is a hub for accessing government services. So these are the five main innovations, digital innovations, that the Vice President is touting. So the Ghana.gov, digitization of the passport office, we've got the mobile money interoperability, we've got the digital address system, and then the Ghana card. So he was reminding the listeners of what this administration has achieved and how important digitalization is in
connecting
building the
us.
economy.
Yes,
Building the economy.
because the key thing for the Vice President, I believe, is getting a centralized database where we can access a person's information. So that's why we are linking up with all, we are connecting all these cards. We are merging SNIT with the Ghana card. We are, all trying to put that information in one storehouse. So your Ghana card will be linked to your driver's license, and once you have, you can access
to your account as well. For me, what stands out is the mobile money interoperability. It stands out for me, and I like it really well because it's helped a lot of us, a lot of people. I mean, it's easy. It's made mobile money. It's really easy. You don't have to go to an MTN
I never
agent.
understood the token system. I still don't.
Yeah,
you have
so
to get a token,
for me,
and before it was just a.
That's one thing
a
that
whole-
stands out for me when it comes to digitization.
Okay, and are we excited that we'll be traveling with our Ghana card soon? So, comment on Twitter. The data shows that because of MMI, so mobile money interoperability, I believe that is, Ghana is the fastest growing mobile money market in Africa. Total value of mobile money transactions in 2020 was 570 billion Ghana cedis. That's $100 billion. 6 years ago, it was 35 billion.
Crazy.
So a lot more people are keeping their
yeah.
monies on their phones. With Momo interoperability, Ghana has moved to become now the leading country in Africa as far as Momo payment is concerned. It gives us the basis and the platform to really include everybody in the delivery of financial services. And that's Dr. Baumia speaking. Transforming an economy through digitization, Ghana's story. So he's asking the question, how is digitization addressing financial inclusion and the dominance of cash payments? Achieving mobile money interoperability in Ghana is therefore no small feat, especially at the cost we did it. The data shows that because of MMI, like we've said, 570 billion Ghana cedis, which is $100 billion. Another,
All right,
another
so it's
key
a lot
thing
of stuff on digital stuff.
yes,
It's all
so
on the internet. You know?
Identification number, having a unique address system, property, consumption, just an effective, more efficient system of taxation and all that. Because there's a TIN number.
Yeah.
We can't say TIN number because TIN is tax identification. So there's a TIN. And all those other things we are trying to connect to the Ghana card. So he's big on this digitization, and so we are looking forward to the next one that they will roll out. I think he said the passport office, like you hinted. So Vice President is speaking. Whilst the Vice President was speaking, there's a striker in Zimbabwe was not having a good day at all. I don't even think it was just one day. He hasn't had a good couple of weeks, I would bet, because after putting all his property in his wife's name, the marriage falls apart, and the property belongs to the woman because it's her name on the papers.
Evidence is the name of the game. You go to court and they look at the papers and they say, whose name is on it? Finish. So he lost his home and a fleet of luxury cars. He registered his house and the fleet of vehicles, the rides, in wifey's name. Wifey ejected him. Took the cars and properties with her.
It's a sad
Wifey
story.
didn't try.
It's a sad story, but sadly, we can't do anything about it.
No.
But why did he register all his properties in his wife's name?
That's the question of the century.
You would know.
It's love.
I'm sure it's love.
Well, he thought he was in love.
Well,
he could have at least done a 50-50. If it had been a joint registration,
they would split it down the middle.
exactly. Yeah. So these were obviously happier times. Honey, look at this.
No, but why do people, I've heard, this is the first one that we've actually seen with evidence, but we usually hear that people register their properties and other things in their girlfriends' names and their wives'
Yeah,
names.
some people are trying to hide the fact that they own stuff.
All these things,
Yes,
yes.
so they'll put it in somebody else's name, but this one went horribly wrong.
It did.
From playing golf, I don't think even Chaskele he go fit play. Because he's basically homeless and carless
Cap
right
is
now.
just mean.
Yeah.
Just mean.
He's not going to be wearing pink shirts. You wear pink shirts when you have money.
But is there anything wrong with putting your property in your wife's name?
Trust God, lock your car.
But this is an example of
Why you shouldn't do
why
that.
you shouldn't.
You can do it joint. If the two of you are one, make it a joint thing. Make it joint.
So this means that there was no prenup.
Well,
No prenup was
relationship
signed before
experts.
the marriage.
Honey, I love you. I'm going to give you my house, all the houses and the cars.
Although me the
That's
car
what
ne
happened.
be
We're going to live forever, happily ever after.
The guy can't do anything. Right?
He can't do
We
jack.
can't do anything.
What
We
did you
all
call-
sympathize with him, but Shale, take one for the team.
Yeah, all he can
Which
do.
team?
All he can do is no. All he can do is
The gender that betrayed Jesus.
rely on the mercy of his wife. So what he Charlie dropped my house for me.
Oh my God.
He depends on her sympathy.
Yeah, maybe when she's in a good mood, maybe she say, oh, you can have
Take
two
one.
cars.
Take
Yeah.
two out of the 10.
But
A
the way
man's
she's actually
hard-earned
ejected
money.
him,
She moved the guy out.
But you see, it's a lot
Get
more
out of my
common than
house.
we think. When, especially with footballers, I've heard at least a couple of other stories where the players had put in almost all what they own in the names of women.
Their partners.
And so, bottom line, keep your property in your own.
She has a
name.
nice forehead too.
For her guy.
The duku will look good on her.
Well, it's too
Okay.
bad for the guy, but
Brother is in trouble, man.
So we have a star player that has been named Mr. Champions League.
that's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Right.
There's a beautiful picture.
She said it in so much pain.
Why
Why would I be in pain? Cristiano is
look
an
at
exceptional
that.
player. I think I've always said that it's Manchester that's but Cristiano exceptional player.
He arguably has the most captured expressions whenever he nets a goal, a ball.
Listen, the man they
Look,
score
look,
at good times.
So
Good times.
there's this here. Okay.
Yes.
You have to read that.
Yes, 45 plus 1, 90 plus 1 is the Champions League. Yeah, those are the times he scores.
103 goals in his last 102 Champions League games. Mr. Champions League.
Thank you. Yes.
This guy, you can't take his time.
Yeah,
That's it. 95th.
95th minute winner against Villarreal, 82nd minute winner against Atalanta, 91st minute equalizer against Atalanta. What more is there to say? The man is a talented player. Cristiano Ronaldo 8/10. So no matter how poorly United play, Mr. Champions League is always ready to rescue the Red Devils. Poorly United play. 4 games, Mr. Champions League.
No, say Paul again.
Oh, you see, I'm happy that it's Mr. Champions League that is trending and not the other one. I don't
But
know.
which jersey is he wearing? Which jersey is he wearing?
It's a CR7. It's a Ronaldo 7.
Oh.
It's a Red Devil.
Let's Antipati scored for Barca, and Barca got some few points. Are you happy?
All right, you should see that. That's him shirtless.
Go back
That's him shirtless.
Look at 8-pack. Don't be 6, 8. 8-pack.
Where are you on the league table? Conversation for another day. Anyways, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Somebody said, you see, the fear of going to Europa League made this guy score those 2 goals. They can't call you Mr. Champions League and then you end up in Europa League. So you have to score and put the team back where it belongs.
There's a picture of Ronaldo that I've seen that I love even more than the ones that you put on. And he looks like he has some fire coming out of him. I don't know. Have you seen the Fantastic Four?
Yes.
You know when that fiery guy, when the fire starts to burn off him a little bit, it's a lot like that. It's a super crazy
Jobbers
photo.
will not know. That about you're talking about one fantastic one.
The Fantastic Four, seriously. Okay, so our cheesy quiz. Let me see. Today we have a cheesy question for you, and you answer that, and you stand the chance of winning a voucher to buy yourself some delicious pizza too. So the voucher you don't even have to buy, I guess. So our question for today, because we are celebrating Ashanti Cultural Week, we are going to Mesia, and that's where we are asking the question from. And the question for today is, what year or when was Otumfuo Osei Tutu installed? When was Otumfuo Osei Tutu II installed? When was Otumfuo Osei Tutu II installed? So if you've watched the breakfast show this week, we've said this many times over and over again. Fastest fingers first. First 3 answers get vouchers to get delicious pizza from Cheesy Pizza.
Okay. And before we go, Funny Face is out on bail.
Yeah.
To
be reporting
to the police
twice a week.
Twice a week. The new Joabin MCE has been invited, not to a party, but to the Special Prosecutor's Office.
He said he can bring a counsel of his choice.
Yes, to come and answer to the viral video that went around with him, insulting people who took his money and didn't perform.
Take the money back.
So those are some updates for you in the news, really.
We'll be coming back on the other side of the break to have that important discussion on erectile dysfunction. The health check segment is brought to you by Lufat suspension and Lufat tablets for adults. You use them when you have confirmed cases of malaria. It's from the Tobinco group. So you don't want to miss that conversation. We have a sit down with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. We're looking into the CSIR waste management technology. We're unearthing talent on the yellow couch thanks to Airtel Tigo. So many things to look forward to. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Live from GB Studio 1, this is the Breakfast Show.
And they call me UJ. When you need a shoulder to cry, run on my pain, so we try our suicide. Let Bible be bygone. I didn't see what the body gonna do. We dey go straight to stardom. And I gonna take you to next level. My baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We at the next level. My baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Take you to next level. My baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't code next level.
Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Welcome to Malaria 360. COVID-19 seems to be getting all the attention lately. But right here, our focus is on everything malaria. I know we've all become a little paranoid lately. At the onset of the slightest fever, we begin to imagine things and start popping pills. But this is wrong. A simple test at a health facility is all you need to confirm whether or not you have malaria. This is why we say test and treat only when malaria is confirmed. In Ghana, when malaria parasites are found in your blood, you'll be given the appropriate anti-malaria medicines to treat malaria. Do not self-medicate. Adhere to all the COVID-19 safety protocols in place. Zero malaria starts with me and you.
From 1921 to 2021, the journey to our centenary has been amazingly worthy. Azar Group is 100 years and continues to achieve greatness.
Main brands which were in the company are Azar Tex, which is an emulsion paint, Texture paints, which we were the first people to produce it in Ghana, and Azar Gloss, which is oil paint. We were the first people to produce the carpenter's glue. Now we have new products like a silicone paint.
Join Azar Group celebrate 100 years and to create another brilliant 100 years together.
Looking to pamper yourself and family these coming holidays with leisure trip to Dubai? Well, Adansi Travels, your leading travel agency in Ghana, got you covered with their mouth-watering offers to Dubai this festive period. Join Adansi to Dubai on either 21st to 28th December or 27th December to 3rd January for an unforgettable lifetime experience. Get the chance to experience the amazing city of Dubai skyline, the dune bashing at the desert safari, the private cruise at Dubai Marina, or discover the child in you at Laguna Water Park. This package with a starting price of 9,500 Ghana cedis covers your flight, hotel, visa, tours, travel insurance, COVID tests, and a day trip to Dubai Expo to celebrate with millions of people from over 190 countries. Call us on 0556 310 404 or 0595 500 817 or visit www.adansitravels.com to book your package. Adansi Travels, fuel life's beauty.
Please, I've not killed anyone. I just do galamsey. Your Honor, since the accused has been in the dock for a while, please permit me to serve him some water to drink. You promised to give me water. This water is coming from the gutter. It will make me sick. Your Honor, that is it. Due to the galamsey activities of the accused and his cohorts, they have polluted all our water bodies. See, this water is coming from our taps. They have destroyed all our forests, and above all, the activities are killing people.
Mr. Eja, you have been found guilty of indulging in galamsey. And since you don't want to mention the names of your bosses, you have been sentenced to 25 years in prison. This is my judgment.
Please, I will talk. Mr. Francis is bad. Mr. Mountain is bad. Please, Your Honor, please.
Enjoy galamsey. Enjoy galamsey.
Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show.
Yep, that's our Did You Know? Two more coming up to end this week's Ashanti Cultural Week celebration. And we'll have an interesting conversation on two wives. We need to get one of our historians in the house to just give us an explanation of the concept behind having a stool wife when you're a chief or a king. Okay, talking about what we're going to be discussing next, and it's brought to you in association with Lufat, which is the anti-malarial that you can trust from Tobingo. It's the product of the year for the Ghana Farmer Awards 2021. We have a conversation on erectile dysfunction, and that's coming up after this message.
Show what a jar or bar anyone conquer dim.
The groom is sick.
What?
Malaria.
Malaria. Lufat. Lufat.
Woman malaria and want to them. Lufat, a malaria drop.
And now you may kiss the bride.
Entrance Pharmaceuticals and Research Center. And I Lufat. Lufat, a two malaria center. FDA, I should say a dead in Kratoi Ajatu.
Segment, we go to Old Menchia Palace and Swami Roundabout to see what's happening in Kumasi, the capital of the Ashanti region. But now to a conversation on erectile dysfunction. What does it entail, and can it be cured? My guest is a doctor, biomedical researcher, and a public health scientist, Dr. Richard Egan. Good to have you here. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Very well.
Awesome. So let's dive straight into business. What is erectile dysfunction, and does it differ from impotence?
In actual fact, when you talk about erectile dysfunction, we say it's actually one of the disorders of the sexual dysfunction. So the sexual dysfunction is actually the umbrella word, and under that we have the erectile dysfunction, which is actually the inability to maintain erection for a certain period of time. And also, we will say that it's not actually different from the impotence. It is just an old word we use for erectile dysfunction. So erectile dysfunction is just a new word for impotence.
So the inability to
have and maintain erection over a certain period of time to be able to have a meaningful and satisfactory sexual function.
That's a really broad definition. When you say over a period of time, how long do the man have to be had before you can say that
That's right.
He doesn't have any
okay, first of all, before sex begins, before an intercourse begins, any man who actually is active in sex, and we say a guy who is also sexually effective, is actually someone who should be able to, first of all, have an erection and then maintain erection. According to sex therapists, survey in 2008 in America and Canada, we say that 7 minutes is actually the period where, first of all, you should be able to have intravaginal latency, so intravaginal sex latency period. So that means 7 minutes is actually the time that we say is the average time. 7 minutes.
So you should be able to have an erection for 7 minutes.
You actually have to maintain that. So the erection itself is just one thing, because there are some men who can gain the erection, but the intravaginal sexual intercourse is actually what really matters, because somebody can gain the erection all right, but cannot actually maintain the erection when they get in there. And I'm talking about when they begin the intravaginal activity.
Okay.
So within the intravaginal activity, one should have 7 minutes at the average time.
Okay. What causes erectile dysfunction?
Right. To be able to know that you have erectile dysfunction, which is all about erection anyway, we say that sexual activities are actually related to 2 major things: biological causes and also psychogenic causes. So all the men who are actually going out and buying stuff for being unable to, gain and maintain erection, our advice to them is, before you do such things, you need to first of all investigate or allow yourself to be screened to find out whether your cause of erectile dysfunction is actually related to the biological cause, which is most of the time is the case, or a psychogenic or psychological cause.
Which one is more common, the biological causes or the psychogenic
No,
causes?
the two are common, because they work together, they are together. When I see a woman, first of all, I have to think about the woman, and I have to actually have an excitement. So the first stage of sexual intercourse is just to gain excitement, arousal. And then after that, then I'll have to be able to, play the romance and be able to gain, because the erection actually comes when you have actually thought about it and felt that you want to have sex. So it is thinking about the sex and feeling about it, and be able to also, concentrate, focus. But then again, the most important thing is just to gain erection. And the gaining erection also goes through certain processes, First, from the brain, see what you want in a woman, see how, attractive she is to you sexually. And then after that, activities, something we call the HPA, hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis within the brain will start working. So what we are talking about here is sex is just about, or sexual intercourse is about a multi-system, multi-organ system within the body, which starts from the nervous system, and then down to the cardiovascular, the heart, and then down to also the hormonal, the endocrine system, and then finally the reproductive system.
Okay.
So it goes through lots of stages. People think it's just simple. It's not that simple.
It doesn't start from the penis, it starts from the brain.
No, it starts from the brain.
Okay.
Everything starts from the brain. That's because the nervous system actually controls everything. So psychologically, you need to want to do it. And then after that, and you need to gain the excitement. So those who are always rushing to do these things, sex is not just about rushing to do anything. Naturally, it was made for people, human beings, to feel good. If I don't feel good today and I go home and I know that I'm meeting someone I really want to have sex with, see how I feel psychologically. I will feel very good within myself. And that actually spurs me on, turns me on, stimulates me, because I need that stimulation as well. And then after that, the brain tells the rest of my body, it tells my heart that, look, get prepared. It tells my adrenal axis here, around your kidneys. Okay. So your kidneys shoot your waist, around the kidney area. It tells your kidney, the adrenal, glands around the kidney, also to get prepared, because they are needed. They have to pump something called the cortisol and adrenaline into the bloodstream. That will also, signal the heart, your heart, that look, get ready and start pumping.
There's some action about to happen.
There's an action about to happen. So they are responding. So you first of all have to respond by just feeling the excitement. And then after that, the erection must occur. Because if erection doesn't occur, of course, nothing happens. So if you really, really want to have a meaningful sex, first of all, a man should think about how best you can have your manhood on, stiff enough to get in there. And these activities, if you are healthy enough,
If your heart is pumping enough, and if your vascular system, the vessels, that's why we say it is also a cardiovascular problem. Because the cardio, the heart, must work very well. Of course, there shouldn't be any heart-related problems. And then the vascular, the endothelium, the inner diameter, the inner structures within your blood vessels should be good enough to be able to allow blood to flow through them. And then there is also something called the sex centers around the back, along your spinal cord. There's certain areas where some activities have to be taking place, and then the blood flow goes into the penis. Finally, that is when you don't suffer from anything like arteriosclerosis or the blockages within your arteries or the vessels.
Because that prevents blood from flowing correctly.
Exactly.
Okay.
So all these activities are taking place and you don't even have a clue, because all these things are internalized activities. They are taking place whilst you are preparing. All you need as a human being is just to look at what you are doing and focus on what you are doing. And then the rest is being taken care of.
A lot is going on when man is supposed to have sex, from the way you've discussed it.
Exactly. So people take this complex thing as a very simple thing. Oh, let's just do it. Oh, let's just do it. You see, I see guys who actually go out there and say, just let's do it. Because it's as if it is a chore, it's an activity, it's something he is supposed to satisfy. It is an obligation. So let's do it. I've married you, let's just do it. No. You see, you need to really turn the person on. Stimulate the woman. Maybe she doesn't even want to do it. That in itself is another thing that can cause a psychological problem. Because that day you have had a fight with her, a quarrel. You said a whole lot of things to each other. That will never turn this woman on. And when she is not cooperating, you are wasting your time. And this is one of the reasons why men have this erectile function issues. Because the psychology aspect, most people don't realize. The psychology aspect play an important role, because you need to be turned on. And whilst you are doing that, then the biology comes in, where the vessels have to be open enough to allow blood flow. That is not the end, because the vessels have to be flexible enough to be able to open up and close. So the blood vessel itself is another thing. So if you're one of those who are eating too much fatty things, who are eating too much red meat, who are taking too much alcohol, then we are talking about a situation where you are actually going to, reach a point in your life where your blood vessels, I'm very concerned about the blood vessels, because that is where at least there's something called hemodynamics. The flow of blood going through them is the most important thing.
Of course, an erection must have blood flowing.
Exactly, because the tissues, you see, within the penis needs to receive blood. Now, one thing people should realize is this. From the arteries, the bigger vessels, you go down to very small vessels, and then you go down to what we call the capillaries, the small vessels that carries the blood, the oxygenated blood. It has to be oxygenated. So we are saying that if you're not even healthy in every aspect of your health or your body, of course you're going to have a lot of problems. From the brain, you could be having depression, you could be having a stress. All these things contribute to whether you can function well or you will not be able to function well.
In case you just joined us, this is Dr. Richard Egan talking to, we're looking at erectile dysfunction. If you have any questions, send them to us on 055 556 1034. 055 556 1034. How common is erectile dysfunction in Ghana?
In actual fact, a survey that was done in 2009 and 2010, I think they chose Kumasi as actually the setting for that study. And from what I got it from that report, we have about 66% of men in that area who actually were actually experiencing one form of sexual dysfunction or the other. And out of that, about 57 were actually from the erectile dysfunction aspect. So it's a big issue.
Those are crazy figures. 66% is 2 out of 3 men.
Yeah, yes, of course. Now, you see, when you take about 10 men, you have about 7.5 or so men who actually have sexual dysfunction in general, and about 5 out of that who have erectile dysfunction in our beloved country. And you can see this from the the amount of advertisement that people are actually making. Because if you want to know the evidence, just check the records from media and also from TV and from adverts that are being made regarding sex and erection and whatnot issues.
Long journey,
yes. It tells you exactly what you. But what people don't realize is that problem is not a very simple thing. You see, it's not like something you have to just go and get something, pop in some pills, and take something and then just start, performing.
Is it true that younger men are now experiencing a lot of erectile dysfunction?
Yes, they do. They do. You see,
how young?
For now, I mean, within the ages of 20 to about 40s, within that age bracket, yes. It is that common, you see what I'm saying? And this is what some of us are here as public health people to try to study some of these things and write reports or do studies to be able to at least help inform people about what is going on. Because there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on because I've been watching young men who are actually going in there to take drinks, mahogany and with the rest of these. And they take these things because they want to have sex. They don't want to make love. So that's another thing. Having sex is just for the boys. Oh, let's just do it. And then making love is just for the men who wants to enjoy it. They want to take their time. They want to go through the process, the motions. They want to touch. They want to look. They want to suck. They want to do everything in order to be able to enjoy. So sex is about enjoyment. And those who know the importance of sex will simply like to do it and do it properly.
So we should make more love and have less sex.
We need to make more love because that is what it is about. The organs were made for that. The reproductive organs are there for that. And also fertility is another issue. But then again, you can choose to have children or not. I mean, it's just your own choice.
All right.
But then again, we are trying to say that instead of going for just anything that comes to the market and buying something for erection, because we know that majority of cases that we've seen of men with sexual dysfunction actually, like I said, are having erectile issues. Erectile issue, some are not able to even gain erection at all. This is where impotency is at its highest peak.
When it can't rise.
When it can't rise at all. And then there are some who actually can gain it. They can rise just a little bit. But it's not hard enough. It's not stiff enough. It needs to be stiff. Of course, some people say, have you got a stiff? In our part of the world. And they'll say those things as a stiff. Have you got a stiff? It means that it's hard enough to get in there. And then we also have those who have, so the weaker, erections are there too. And those who can gain it, maintain it, but can only take up to 1 to 2 minutes. So if you are having sex and you go under 3 minutes, we say that it is too short. The duration is just too short. The latency is just too short. You need to maintain it in there for over 3 minutes and up to 7 minutes. Now, if you can do that, we say that it is actually the average time.
And if you go beyond 7 minutes?
Between...
is that a problem?
No, it's not. But the thing is, we have different categories. So the first one is too short, which is under 1 or 2 minutes, under 3 minutes. Between 3 and 7, if you can get to 7, we say it is the average time. And then from 7 minutes to 10 minutes, we say that is desirable.
The woman will be smiling.
Oh, she has to. And then from that stage, from 13 minutes to about 10 minutes to about 13, 15 minutes, we say that, well, very good. You're doing very, at least if you can get there. But from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, if any man tells me he gets from 15 to 30 minutes, I would say it's very abnormal. It's too long.
Are there medical implications?
Oh, yes.
Is that also an erectile dysfunction?
It could just be
having sex
problem.
for 30 minutes?
Yes, it could be a problem even with your own erection. So I hear guys talking about 30 minutes and 1 hour. What, are you a horse? You see, you haven't got that
Horses
strength.
can have sex for 1 hour?
Well, they have that strength because of the power of their heart.
All right.
You don't have that strength. You don't have that power.
So they're just lying.
Exactly. These guys are deceiving themselves. And those who are using drugs, and I'm glad we are here to talk about this, because we know that these people, most of these people who talk about this 30 to whatever minutes, which I don't actually know what they gain from that. What they gain from that is just punishing a woman for nothing. A woman doesn't have to have sex for 30 minutes.
And could it also have harmful effects to the man himself?
It will do.
Having all that blood in one place for 30 minutes.
Exactly, because the question is this. You see, naturally, we have something called the PDE5. It's an enzyme, phosphodiesterase 5 enzyme, which actually helps us. There's a lot of processes like L-citrulline, a whole lot of things, amino acids that form this activity. And you also need nitric oxide actually to open the blood vessels and close, and then the PDE5 actually have to close it to help you to maintain erection for over a certain period of time. So we are talking about nitric oxide, we're talking about PDE5, which is what is inside Viagra. And Viagra was only made to try to supplement that strength that you need, to maintain. So Viagra is only prescribed by a doctor, a medically trained doctor, to be able to help those who are actually having issues like blood pressure, blood flow issues, and also blood pressure issues, and diabetes, or anything that can actually block the blood vessels to allow blood to flow, and also the nerves, because the nerves also play an important role. We know very well that diabetes can cause things like polyneuropathy, where there will not be proper sensation, because you need to feel the sensation. You see what I'm saying? So what medications which are actually used as anesthetics, such as tramadol, can do for these young men who are taking them, we've heard a lot about these things, is it actually blocks the sensation receptors.
Tramadol?
Yes, it doesn't allow you to feel pain. And that is very dangerous, because you may have a heart-related problem, cardiovascular problem, that you may not even have any problem. You may not even have any idea. And then you'll be using that thing because you don't feel, because human beings, one of our natural activities is to be able to feel. It's a natural thing that has to occur. You need to feel. You need to feel pain. You need to feel anything. And this is what diabetes can do sometimes. It blocks that pain receptors, the nociceptors. So sometimes you're not able to feel pain even when you have sore. You may probably not feel it. So something can catch you.
So you don't feel it.
Certain stages of diabetes. This is what tramadol can also do. And there are guys who I have heard are using energy drinks and tramadol. Very dangerous. You're killing yourself. You will kill yourself.
They're mixing themselves.
Mixing this. Even tramadol it's on its own can actually cause a lot of damage, because doctors only give tramadol in hospitals to accident victims, those who have had serious accidents and other things, to be able to numb the pain for a certain period. And that is actually something that is monitored.
So it's really dangerous.
It's very dangerous. So why are you taking these stuff when you have every opportunity to go out there and screen yourself? Because if you're a man and you have erectile dysfunction, of course you may be having diabetes. Of course you may be having high blood pressure. How many young men in this country go out there to check?
So you need to check all these things before you start self-medicating.
You need to do that. You need to screen yourself.
Let's briefly look at treatment options for erectile dysfunction. What are the options that somebody with who thinks they may be having erectile dysfunction can be available to for that person?
Right. Like I said before, erectile dysfunction itself is actually something to do with erection, like I said before. And like I said, I've explained to our brothers and our sisters, because our sisters must also know these things. When you are sleeping with your guy, your man, your husband, and it takes about 7 minutes, please just say thank you.
They should just thank you.
Just say thank you, and let's move on. You shouldn't tell these guys, oh, I'm sorry, you're not good enough. I've heard it several times. I've actually been hearing this a lot from my own special service and whatnot. Oh, he's not good enough. Oh, my former boyfriend was just much better. He can go about 30 minutes. Of course, that guy who was doing that 30 minutes was actually deceiving you. And he may be taking certain things. Most men take things that they hide from the women.
So
he may be taking drugs. They should stop that. Because you may be killing yourself. If you are taking marijuana to go to do sex, remember that, first of all, why are you not actually getting erection at all? You need to know what it is.
What does marijuana do to the erection?
Oh, it can also cause the numbness of the distance. Marijuana is just one of those things we can say anesthetic, because it puts you on the high, and sometimes you don't really feel. You see, so that's why sometimes they actually think on the abstract, but they don't really feel, you see, and that can also cause you to have long erections. Having said that, you see, I go back to the question of what are the causes?
Yeah, so
because, exactly, okay. So you need to go and find out what exactly is wrong with you. Okay. If you're a man and you are doing very, very well in sex, and all of a sudden this changes, there may be something wrong with you. Something has gone wrong psychologically. Yeah, let me tell our viewers this before we finish this show. We see we've done a lot of research on something called sexual boredom, sexual exhaustion.
Sexual boredom?
Yes, there is something like that. And that also comes as a result of relational boredom as well. You could live with someone for about 7 years, a wife, a husband, a boyfriend, and what happens is you get bored sometimes. You see, people don't look at all these realities. They only think about other things. Oh, my pastor said we have to marry till the end of time, and you can't be happy forever in a relationship unless if you have to rekindle things. You need to rekindle relationships because, you see, once somebody has blessed your marriage and said go and have fruitful whatever it is, children or whatever it is, and multiply and fill the earth and whatnot, does not mean you have to use a little bit of common sense. After 7 years in a relationship, in a marriage, a lot of things happen. 7 years from the last surveys and studies that were done. If you live with someone coming from a different background, someone who was actually brought up from a different family, and you, in fact, people, we do very well to marry and stay long in marriage. Marriage is not a simple thing. So these are some of the psychological factors people are facing, they don't realize. I treat sex problems. I treat fertility problems. I have come across many people who are just bored. And because of the boredom, the erection doesn't come. And the woman doesn't also get the erection. Because a woman must have erection. And what is that erection? When a woman becomes excited, certain things happens internally within the body and within the vagina. First, any woman that is turned on, stimulated, properly stimulated, the tits,
yeah, tits, so we understand
well, the tits.
The breast, boobs.
The boobs. Yeah. And the mouth of the nipples, the nipples have to be very much erected.
Okay, so the hair is on
that's
the,
number one.
On the boobs.
So it has to flow in, more blood has to flow into that area.
Thank you.
It has to be used. You see, you need to use everything.
How do you use it?
Of course, suck it.
You suck it.
Touch it, suck it.
Touch it, suck it.
Yes.
Very, very, almost like a rap.
Exactly. You need to do that. It's because that thing that is erected is telling you that make use of me.
It's talking to you.
Yes. So if you're actually doing this thing properly, and if you're observing the activity very well, which most men don't.
So men are blind, but
they're too blind to do sex. They're not enjoying sex because they don't actually observe the activity. They don't watch what they are doing. They're just doing it. Some men are even closing their eyes because they don't even like, I'm sorry to say, the women they're sleeping with. They just close their mind. They turn their attention away. So some women don't like the men they are having sex with. So they turn their attention away just simply to just do it, let me just
get it over with it.
Get it over with.
Yeah. So more awareness, you're advocating more awareness.
Yeah, you need to really be focused. You need to do it and be focused on it, love it. Because if you are doing sex and you're just doing it because it's a chore, some kind of chore, an obligatory thing, that, oh, well, they said we are married and part of marriage is sex. No. It shouldn't be seen as an obligation. It should be seen as something you want to do. And she wants to do too. If she doesn't want to have sex with you, please ask her whether she loves you. And if he doesn't want to have sex with you, ask him whether he loves you. Because you see, you have to love it, you have to do it. And when you do it, when you love it, you see how you feel. It becomes meaningful. It makes sense to you. And you enjoy it even the more. Now, those who tell me that they go 30 minutes, I asked one of them just recently, how do you measure it? Because in science we measure things, we test things. How do you measure it? Oh, I said, do you put a clock down there? Because if I was doing that and I want to observe that, I need to have a clock and be watching it. So how do you measure that 30 minutes you're talking about? oh, no, me, I can say I last very long. That's all. I said, no, you are only thinking.
You've got to time it.
Because you only, exactly. They are not measuring it. They don't look even at the time. And they say they've done 30 minutes and 1 hour. No. Let me tell you one thing. You see, thrusting, intravaginal thrusting,
yes,
you can take about 10 thrusts within 1 minute. And you don't realize.
So look, every 6 seconds, 1 thrust.
So most men actually measure that thing through the number of thrusting they do. Pam, 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 pam. And then they measure the pam, pam, pam. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 20 thrusts, pam, 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 is 1 hour.
1 hour. No, their math is wrong.
You must have done less than even 3 minutes. And you don't even realize. This is why we say that 7 minutes, you have to embrace it. Thank Dr. Egan for mentioning this thing to you. Because today you know that you don't need Viagra. Today you know that you don't need mahogany. Because today you know that your average time is 7 minutes.
Have a clock and measure.
Measure it.
Thank you.
Put it down there, look at it, and then check. Now, if you are telling me that the romance aspect is part of your 30 minutes, then of course I might be forced to believe that.
But 7 minutes doesn't include the romance.
No, the 7 minutes does not include
it's the entry into the
intravaginal activity, and then and we said at least 3 minutes. I say that 3 minutes. If you've done 3 minutes,
you're okay.
You're okay. But then if you can get to 7 minutes, is the average. But if you go beyond that time a little bit, then of course we say it is desirable. Most people would like that. But I know women that don't even want to go that far. As a woman, once you can give her the satisfaction she needs, and it is not about penis size, it's not about anything. It's about how skillful
you are.
So we are talking about skill.
Why don't they teach us these things somewhere?
That is the problem. Because you see, when we started having sex, it is only just one depending on what nature taught them. And nature only said to people who have heard it from other people that when you are doing intravaginal sex, you have to put your penis into the vagina and start thrusting.
Very fast.
That's what nature and other people have taught us. What we don't realize is there are skills to be learned.
And I know you will give us a number for people to reach you. There are so many questions here. It's not even funny. Does masturbation cause erectile dysfunction?
Yes, it does. You see, masturbation can, and many men I have spoken to in Ghana here, actually do masturbate. Because you see, most people were taught that if you want to have sex and you haven't married, you see the religion, you see the culture, and you see what culture can do to us sometimes. Culture is good, tradition is good, but there are certain aspects of culture that can inhibit certain things, can affect certain things, our way of thinking. Because now people think that, okay, if you haven't married, you can't have sex. Do I believe that? Maybe not. But then again, it's a religious moral issue.
So masturbation, what is it? It desensitizes the penis?
Of course it does. And men, you see, most men who are married actually think that that is the only way they have to come. And they have to come or have ejaculation.
What are the other ways to come?
That's the only way.
That's the only way?
Except from having sex. Masturbation is the other way.
Okay.
And so those who actually have not married yet, who think they have to enjoy that sort of, we all know how it feels when you are coming, when you are reaching orgasm.
Yes.
Of course, it's one of the sex response cycles. From the plateau level, you go to orgasm, and from orgasm, you go to resolution, relaxing after the sex. Now, most men who have not married, I know because I learned that from those who go to secondary schools in this country, boarding house and whatnot, only taught that, okay, you can try that thing and see. It feels so good. So if you do that, you will enjoy it. I know. Many people enjoy it because it becomes as enjoyable as having the intravaginal sex itself.
But it's damaging you.
But it's damaging because then your mind, you see, the mind, whenever you train the mind, there's something about the mind most people don't realize. Whenever you train your mind, I have trained my mind to love sex.
You love it, huh?
Of course I have to. It's one of the most important things on this planet. And this is why I have learned, I do a lot of research in that area. Of course, I do a lot of research in many other sectors, in science and in medicine. But the focus mostly is on sex. And I teach these stuff. And I tell men what they have to try to do to avoid these erectile dysfunction problems. Because if you are going to call me after this program, I will just teach you certain things, and if there is a need to treat you medically, there are some stuff, there are some medicines we can give you, and then we can also give you psychological counseling as well. So therefore, I'm telling the brothers and sisters out there who don't actually know that 7 minutes is the average. And even if you have done 3 minutes and you've done it very well, if you have done it very well, for the woman to be very satisfied and happy, because the woman must also be happy and satisfied.
Indeed.
Otherwise, it is just a waste of time. So if you want to do that, if you want to achieve that, it's an achievement in its own right.
It is an achievement.
Then, of course, you need not to go out there and be buying stuff. The stuff you are buying, the aphrodisiacs, all these chemicals you're putting into the body can actually harm you even more. It can exacerbate the problem. So we tell you to first do the screen. Check whether or not you're okay. Check whether or not there is anything wrong with your heart, or whether you have diabetes, or whether you have high blood pressure, or anything related to the vessels, what we call the vasculopathy. So if you have any of these things, then of course it could be a psychological thing. Maybe you are bored in your relationship. If you are bored, which most men who are suffering from sexual problems are, they are bored. They have seen the same person
over and over,
and they've been doing the same thing. There's no skill training. Nobody's doing anything new. They are doing just the same thing from one stage to another. That is boredom, and you will never enjoy sex.
People need to come and talk to Dr. Egan. What's the contact number, Dr. Egan?
The first number is 057 6300 552. 057 6300 552.
Alrighty.
You can also reach me on this WhatsApp line. That is 0044 744 836 9303. 0044 744 836 9303.
And all around the country, I can visualize men storing your number in their phone.
They have to. They have
one,
to.
One last request. Will you come again?
I will come again. I'm here. I'm here till December. I'll be going sometime in the middle of December for Christmas. I'll go back to London on that period. But I will come back.
Please.
There's a lot of work to be done in public health promotion.
Ghana needs
and
you.
We really need Ghana.
Thank you.
Because we love our country and we always want to do our best to help our country.
Alrighty. Thank you very much, Dr. Richard Egan. He's a doctor and a biomedical researcher and a public health specialist. 7 is the lucky number. Come right 7. CR7. Powerful. Val, take us away to 7th heaven in Kumasi.
Well, welcome to the side of the breakfast table. We're going to be crossing cameras. We are doing an intercity edition. We are going to the Ashanti region, and you can see Daryl behind us on the screen. We are this time rushing hour, looking at what traffic looks like from the Swami roundabout in Kumasi. I was about to do a little geography. So, if you're in the roundabout, Swami is your second exit. That's it right there. And then Bantama Sunyani is on the 3rd exit. Kejetia is on the 4th, and we are going to Alan now. Alan, good morning from that side of Ghana.
Hey,
what's up?
Good morning, Val, and welcome to the Swami roundabout in the Garden City. The Republic of Ghana is the place, and Ashanti region, the capital Kumasi, is where we are. Thank you very much this morning for staying with us on hashtag GTV Breakfast. Our sincere thanks go to Hafiz. Hafiz is a trader at the Ahojo roundabout. He actually gave us this nice outfit to kit us up. Coming to Swami, where we're reporting from this morning, for the benefit of those who do not know their way around Swami. Let me take it from when you're coming from Dichemso through Krofrom. Your first exit at the roundabout is the one that takes you to Otafo or Mampong. The Swami roundabout has 5 different exits, and so if you're coming from Dichemso, which will then come through the airport area through Abu Abu from Angloga, you will then your first exit will be the one that takes you to Otafo and Mampong, and then from there you're headed for Swami itself, and then that road will lead you through Tamale. So we have just come from the Old Tafo Mampong bit. What you want to look at now is what will take you on the Tamale stretch of the road, and that will take you through Swami itself, and then you come through Kronum, and then Ofinso, and then you find your way off towards the Tamale end of town. And from there, we are looking at traffic that will take you towards the Sunyai part of town. That will be Bantama, to be precise. Traffic situation at this roundabout isn't what we're used to. We understand Accra traffic is slightly different from what we know it to be in Kumasi. The reason being that apart from trotro drivers being of the same mother and so of the same attitude everywhere you go in Ghana, the roundabout has a different feel to it. It is big enough, and so even when they park haphazardly, they don't necessarily impede traffic and create a tailback. What you have also is the Pragyas, the Kumasi version of Aboboyas in Accra. They also use the road with commuters out here, and so you every now and then have a commuter honking on them to get out of the way. But yeah, they have their own way of doing it. They don't get out of the way. They stick and stay, and that's the situation with traffic. You're looking currently in the direction of the Sunyai Bantama part of the roundabout, and that exit will take you through Bantama if you're headed for Sunyai. We're now going to pan towards KJTR, and the KJTR will be the one behind me immediately if you have a ground shot. You may also see the statue of Otumfo Opokuwari, the immediate past, who was succeeded by Otumfo II. That's the statue behind me. And so what you can see is exit number 4 taking you out from Swami towards Sunyai, and that would be taking you towards, yes, Bantama and through Sunyai. To wrap up, I'll bring you back to the KJTR end of town, and that is the traffic situation up here at the Swami roundabout. Thank you so very much for sticking and staying with us. Back in the studio, Valerie.
Right, thank you, Alan. So Alan came to us from the Swami roundabout in Kumasi. We are still celebrating the Ashanti Cultural Week, so we are celebrating everything Ashanti, and this is why we are looking this regal. We are looking this regal thanks to Savida Bonre Kente on Instagram. They provided us with the kente and accessories, and then it was beautifully put together by Red Cultural on Facebook, and she put us nicely together this morning, T and myself. The show is made possible by Awake Purified Water, Adonko Next Level Energy Drink, Shield Acrylic Paint, Airtel Tigo, which is responsible for my side of the couch, which is the lifestyle segment, the yellow couch, and then Cheesy Pizza, of course. We mentioned the questions for the day. Kaf is already getting ready to have the conversation on headlines and discussing what's trending in the newspapers, social media portals, online portals as well. You can go on our website, which is gbconline.com, for all the news and all the interviews we've had. You can get behind the scenes. The hashtag to follow is GTV Breakfast. We're taking a quick break.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is the Breakfast Show.
Oh, today he has been extra sweet, and the way he looks at me.
I have done everything by the book. It's on. Hey, but I have to get some condoms, Charlie.
Using a condom will protect you and your partner from HIV, STIs, and unplanned pregnancy. Condoms are an effective way for protection against HIV infection. Don't take risks. Use a condom every time. Always come prepared.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission and Ghana Health Service.
Looking to pamper yourself and family these coming holidays with leisure trip to Dubai? Well, Adansi Travels, your leading travel agency in Ghana, got you covered with their mouth-watering offers to Dubai this festive period. Join Adansi to Dubai on either 21st to 28th December or 27th December to 3rd January for an unforgettable lifetime experience. Get the chance to experience the amazing city of Dubai skyline, the dune bashing at the desert safari, the private cruise at Dubai Marina, or discover the child in you at Laguna Water Park. This package with a starting price of 9,500 Ghana cedis covers your flight, hotel, visa, tours, travel insurance, COVID test, and a day trip to Dubai Expo to celebrate with millions of people from over 190 countries. Call us on 0556 310 404 or 0595 500 817 or visit www.adansitravels.com to book your package. Adansi Travels, few lives be.
From farmlands and forests and towns.
They are gathered from farmlands and forests and towns. Navasco is 60 years old. Hooray! Navrongo Senior High School, in conjunction with all Navascans, Nabia, invite you to the 60th anniversary celebration of the school. Theme: sustaining 60 years of quality education in Navasco. The role of stakeholders. Date: 1st to 7th November 2021, and the climax will be 6th November 2021. Venue: the premises of Navrongo Senior High School. Special guest of honor: His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmudu Baumia, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. Also in attendance, Minister of Education, Director General of Ghana Education Service, chiefs, opinion leaders, and many other dignitaries. All students, well wishers, and the general public are cordially invited to celebrate with Navasco. Navasco is 60 years and it is worth celebrating. Be reminded that all COVID-19 safety protocols will be strictly observed.
I swore an oath on 7th January to be faithful and true to the Republic of Ghana. And that is exactly what I'm doing in the fight against Galamsey.
Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, 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 Galamsey, este Ghana. Ghana, my emrena suo, Galamsey, SSA, Jayo, my cambo, na ye mine say a shea, ye pepper. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, 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 Galamsey, este Ghana. Galamsey, yes you I say yo. Galamsey and forest I say yo. Galamsey in Kofoewu say a bunch of wow bedem. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, 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 Galamsey.
About all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex. We talked about sex today, and I know your ears are all tingling. Go and watch the feed. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Look for Ghana Broadcasting Corporation and get all the information on erectile dysfunction. It's a conversation that men must have, because Charlie, 7 out of 10, if you look at 10 men, 7 of us are suffering in silence, and there's help. I'll drop the numbers later. I know your phones are ready for the numbers, but I'll drop them later. Let's do headlines right now. We can't talk about sex all the time. My guests, both of whom are men, are here with me. Musa Ahmed is a solicitor and advocate at Ahmed Legal Consult. Salaam alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
And Frederick Ejaku Odro is Dean for Studies and Research at the Institute of Local Government Studies. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you all here.
Good to see you.
Yes, I'm the only unbespectacled gentleman on the set, but it's just because I haven't gone to check my eyes. I know I need glasses. So I shall be joining you pretty soon.
I hope you are well enough not to join us.
Well, how you go do them? You know, some of these things happen with time. Good to have you all here. Let's look into the stories that are big. I see Ghana card to become an e-passport by the first quarter of 2022. This is Dr. Baumia speaking at an occasion at Ashesi University yesterday right here in Accra. And it's on page 14 of the graphic. So by the end of the first quarter of 2022, the Ghana card will be recognized globally as an electronic passport. It can be read and verified in all international civil aviation organization compliant borders. So it's going to be accepted as an e-passport in 197 borders globally and 44,000 airports in the world. This is almost unbelievable, but this is the power of digitization and how it can affect our economy. You talked about so many things, the database system, the Ghana card, the digitization of the passport office, but this one struck my attention very, very, very strongly. That the Ghana card that we use is going to become an e-passport by March of next year. Ahmed, first of all, did you follow that conversation, and what do you make of this focus on digitalization for our economy's growth?
Thank you very much. I have been following this digitalization. Sorry. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. Now, the acronym is associated with Dr. Baumia.
Yes.
It's become expansive. It's become a household name in Ghana. Well, for me, it is progressive in the sense that every nation is seeking to progress in all areas. And this aspect of it is good for Ghana. If we have to match side by side with other countries of the world who are moving forward in terms of progress. So for me, we must say a big thank you to the government of the day for the introduction of this big thing to Ghana.
Did they have a choice? I mean, the way the world is going, do you have a choice not to go digital?
Well, you cannot avoid being digital about your economy, especially. The question whether they had a choice or not, for me, if it was their agenda to move forward, the economy forward, and the progress of Ghana forward, then they didn't have a choice. But to me, it is a good step they have taken. They didn't have a choice in many things, but the resources for doing many things too is limited. So if in the limited resources they have managed to put across this as an important aspect of the program they have for the nation, then they have done well, even though they didn't have a choice. They have done well for starting with this aspect of development.
Okay, let me bring in Frederick. So all these digital initiatives, how do they impact the common man and woman down at the district level? You deal with local government issues. How are these initiatives affecting or impacting local government?
I did listen to the Vice President yesterday, and he was talking also about property addressing. Yes. And also, I mean, we know about the Ghana Post GPS. Yes. It's a very big thing. And then if you link it to the Ghana card, that can help you identify people, pin people to specific addresses. Is phenomenal. And you look at the whole local governance system, it depends on raising adequate funds to undertake most of its activities. We have to pay property rates. We have to pay even basic rates. The funny thing is that you and I sitting here, we are required to pay basic rates. It doesn't come out to about 2 cedis to the assemblies, but barely anybody pays. I think part of the reason is that it's more expensive collecting it than the money you're going to get out of it. But if you have a digital system that can link individuals to specific addresses, it is easier to also use the Momo thing, the mobile money system, which is also digital in nature. So the whole world is moving towards that. I quite remember about 14 years ago, then I had some friends who were coming over from, they were traveling from Germany to London. And they didn't have to come with passports because they had cards that were digital in nature and could be recognized. And because it was within the Schengen thing, they didn't need to travel with passports. And I was amazed because as a Ghanaian, wherever you go, even your passport, you are in a different queue that they scrutinize. I remember being in an airport and somebody had to bring this lens system just to check whether the visa I was holding was even authentic and all that. So if we can go digital, that is easier. He mentioned that within 10 seconds or 12 seconds or so, some of these features can be checked digitally to ascertain that indeed what we are holding is authentic and all that. So I think it's very good. But let me mention one thing. When a lawyer was talking, he made mention about what the present government has done. Yes, I also want to mention that last week I did read a piece penned by Dr. Mani Boama and the former NCA chief executive. They were also talking about some key infrastructure that had been put down prior to this government. I think it is good that as a country we can have a focus. This is where we want to go, so that we will have a policy that we will not stop one thing just because there's change in government. So this is the way to go. Okay. And I'm very happy we are using it effectively, but we need to continue with the public education about the need for some of these things.
All righty. You just joined us. This is the headlines on GTV Breakfast. Our WhatsApp number is 05555 61034 055-556-1034. I know you all want the good doctor's WhatsApp number on erectile issues. I shall give that number at the end of headlines, so keep watching headlines. Okay, good. Couple of headlines in today's daily graphic. Glasgow Summit on Climate Change. Honor your pledges. President tells the wealthy nations. 2022 budget will regain investor confidence, says Edu Boahin. Don't underdeclare incomes for better pension. SNIT is talking to employees. But there's a story that I just want to briefly talk about, and it has to link with digitization, because on page 20 of today's graphic, 10,000 CCTV cameras will be installed in regional and district capitals, says Mr. Albert Kandapa, Minister of National Security. 10,000 CCTVs. I see all these masts when I drive through Accra. I have a sneaky suspicion that the cameras are not even on. But now we hear that 10,000 more of these CCTV cameras are going to be installed all over the country. Ahmed, should this make us feel more secure?
Yes, I would say yes, in the sense that mentally, when you are roaming the city, especially during dark times in the night, you normally, as a human being, you have some fear in you. And so this time around, when you think that your activities or the activities or movements of persons are being monitored, it gives you that sense of security, that sense of relief from your previous fear during the absence of cameras in the cities, because they indeed work, they capture your movement, whatever you do, at least at those vantage places that they are installed within a certain radius. So if you are within the reach of the cameras, you feel a sense of security, and for me, it is a good idea.
Are they really working? So far, any of the arrests the police have made concerning video footage on the streets has come from other people's videos, and we don't see footage of security cameras showing anything. That gentleman who was drifting on the roads doing his stunts and got fined 1,800 cedis. The footage didn't come from a security camera. It came from some person who was driving and was shocked by what was happening.
But I don't think that you can conclude that these are not working. For me, I think they are working. They may, if at the time of an accident, the accident did happen within the radius of the cameras or within the reach of the cameras, you could require or request those responsible to provide the footage for your own reasons. If you think of going to court, for instance, and you need it as evidence to prove your rightness or otherwise of the accident, then you could obtain it, because it's a public used money that has been used to install.
So you have confidence in the system?
I do have confidence in the system, because I've seen it a few times that on TV they were showing it, the police were there, they were looking at it, they were demonstrating how it works and how they could capture scenes and use it for activities. So I think they are working. It's not just a joke.
It's not just a joke.
Yeah.
Frederick, let me hit you with some numbers. So according to Mr. Kandapa, according to research carried out in 2020, the City of London has about 73 cameras per 1,000 citizens. The City of Beijing in China has 55 cameras per 1,000 citizens, while New Delhi in India has 33, almost 34 cameras per 1,000. Ghana's average right now is less than 1 camera per 1,000, which means that if they want to get to even 33 per citizen, we're going to be buying a lot more cameras. How does that make you feel?
No, for starters, I'm happy with this coming up. I quite remember not too long ago there was an accident at Juasu Junction. They were able to get the footage. We know the robbery incidents in Accra through these cameras itself. But let me indicate that, take London for instance. It is not only the public ones that they rely on. They also rely on individuals' installed cameras, especially CCTV cameras in shops, in frontage of buildings and all that. They come in, and the police, come in whenever there are incidences, and they can even request to review footage taken by private citizens. So I think as we are going ahead, we shouldn't even leave it with government alone. Individuals, of course, I'm quite aware a lot of people are now installing them in their homes. People can monitor their own children whilst they are away. Schools, for instance, must be encouraged to install cameras, because we have abuses all over the place, and we need to have this again. But there's also the question that, again, I like to defer to the lawyer, the question of the big brother mentality. People think government or security networks may be intruding on our privacy through some of these things. But I think it is a good thing to have a secured, communities. But then whatever happens, it should never be used to blackmail individuals. It should never be used to maybe spy on citizens, but it should be used for the purpose of, securing our, ensuring our security.
Okay.
Beyond that, I think nothing should be used by some of these security gadgets or systems to intrude on the privacy of individuals.
So privacy issues are quite at the top of the agenda as far as security is concerned. What do you think? We looked at two stories so far. The digital initiatives that the Vice President spoke about yesterday at Ashesi, especially the Ghana card, which is going to be functioning as a passport, available that you can use in over 44,000 airports worldwide, and then 10,000 more cameras to be installed in various parts of the country. Do you see those cameras there? Do you feel more secure when you see these cameras, or you want to see policemen with guns to make you feel more secure on the streets? Let us know, 055-556-1034. Let's do a little bit of politics now, because the Joabin MCE, Municipal Chief Executive, who was in the news for a couple of days, and for angrily demanding some money that he says he gave out for some action to be taken with respect to his nomination, and the action wasn't taken, so he was demanding a refund, and he was caught on video. The police jumped into the case, and now he has received a special invitation from the special prosecutor to come and answer questions related to that video. Ahmed, is it time for the president to withdraw the nomination of the Joabin MCE, considering what has gone down in the last couple of days?
Well, that question will be better answered by the president himself.
I want your view now.
My view is that we should exercise restraint in the circumstances. He has been invited. As at date, no institution or court of competent jurisdiction has found him guilty of any offense. So I would prefer that he should be presumed to be innocent until he has been proven guilty. If, in the opinion of the president, he thinks that he has brought the name of the government, himself, the community he was going to represent, or the people of Ghana's name into disrepute, then I will advise the president to withdraw his nomination.
So exercising restraint is the key word for you?
Is the key word for me.
Frederick, so this falls squarely into your lap. You study local government, and when you have situations like this, where there was recently a picture of people kneeling down and begging for forgiveness for some actions that they may have committed or not committed with respect to these nominations, and then now you have this chap who was going to be the president's man in Joabin if he had been voted for. What does it say about the system that Ghana operates right now in getting people to run, to essentially provide services for the local districts and municipalities? Because that's what it's all about. You are there to provide things for the people. Are we being distracted?
No. The Joabin case is a very classic test case that I'm so happy. There are different angles to it, but we don't have to.
What are you happy about?
No, I'm happy that the police arrested him.
Okay.
I'm happy that the special prosecutor is interested in the case, because there is this continuous challenge about bribery and corruption surrounding the whole the approval process. That some of us have been talking about this for years, and I'm happy somebody has shot himself in the foot by publicly claiming people have taken money from him. I mean, in terms of the criminal code about bribery, the giver and the taker are both liable. I think there must be investigations. I would be happy to see some form of prosecution, and if we can secure conviction, I'll be the most happiest person.
You'd love to have a scapegoat.
we need to stop it. It is there. I mean, in the last exercises, there were so many cases. Scapegoats is also another classic example. Assembly members came out saying, we took the money, we are returning the money. So you took bribe. In a sense, there was another case in Tamale. There are this, but there was another case in Tamale.
You document all these things and discuss them.
No, we do. We use them as case studies.
Okay.
We use them as case studies. But the fact of the matter is that we've glossed over it, and it's become a big challenge that we need to stop. We must find a solution to it one way or the other. Okay. Then there is also the case of why is it that this is somebody. I mean, let us look at Dwabin as a classic case. This is a pure MPP stronghold. I mean, my discussions with some people from the area indicate that the assembly members, virtually except one or two, everyone is a non-MPP person. There is the 1/3 of assembly members who are directly appointed by the president, but invariably they are party people who are appointed. This gentleman who was nominated by the president is a party chairman. How can it be that your own people, 20 of them, said they will not vote for you openly? It brings about the way you relate to people. I think it's a relational problem. And that should, for me, I mean, lawyer was being very diplomatic about it. I would, if I have an opportunity, to say to the president that I don't think this man will help you.
Let's check out the letter that the special prosecutor wrote, the love letter.
It's the Office of the Special Prosecutor has commenced investigations into allegations, and it's of corruption, and it's a whole bunch of, it's a beautiful love letter from the special prosecutor. And so basically what he's saying is that he's giving him some time to go and come visit. So the Office of the Special Prosecutor has commenced investigations to allegations of corruption and corruption-related offenses, especially corruption and intimidation in respect of a public election in relation to your nomination and confirmation or otherwise with the as the municipal chief executive of Dwabin municipality in the Ashanti region. The OSP considers you a person necessary for the investigation. You are directed to attend in person the offices of the OSP at 6 Haile Selassie Avenue, Southwich, Accra, and they've given you the digital address. Mr. Dr. Baumel will be so excited. On Tuesday, 9th November 2021, at 2:30, they even gave him time in the afternoon for interviewing. You may be accompanied by counsel of your choice. Signed in the green pen of Kisi Ajebing, Special Prosecutor. Last point on this, Ahmed. The video that went viral was not taken with the permission of Mr. Kantanka. Can a judge, can his counsel ask that evidence be rejected if it is tendered in by those who want him prosecuted?
Well, at this stage of showing the video to the public, before he has been placed before any court of law, is prejudicial to his case. Because what you are doing is to do public prosecution of the person before he has been arraigned before a court of competent jurisdiction.
All right.
But the other side of it too is that you cannot tell a court not to accept the evidence, because what I look at is that I'm looking at it from the angle of having witnesses present. Witnesses could look at a scene of a crime or the performance of a crime activity with their eyes. They could use their video, their phones to video it. They could use cameras to take the event, provided it goes to the root of the commission of an offense. And if it does, there are rules and regulations within the Evidence Act for a court of law to follow, to accept such evidence.
Okay.
And when the time comes, the lawyer and his client will be given the opportunity to address the court on the issue of whether it is an evidence that can be accepted within Section 8 of the Evidence Act or not.
Okay.
So for me, one, we should learn not to prejudice people's cases because they have the right at law to be judged fairly. They have the right to defend themselves according to law. We should all exercise that kind of civility when it comes to accusing people of an offense.
Okay.
So for me, that is what I can.
Thank you for the free law lesson.
Yes.
Yeah,
the only aspect that I have with the special prosecutor jumping into the fray of this case is that we all saw that they said the police arrested him. And the police, I know they have the power to also investigate and where necessary, prosecute. So if the police intervened, why are you jumping in? That is my problem. You see, two state bodies going after one individual at the same time, it's not fair.
Is he taking the shine off the police?
Well, I think he ought to have exercised restraint, allow the police to conduct their investigation. Because I know his office uses the same police to do his investigation. He cannot do investigation on his own.
So you think he should have just chilled?
Yes, not to chill, but he could have monitored from one angle to see what is going on. Allow the police to conduct their investigation, because his jumping into the fray will let the lawyer of the accused person tell the police that from what the special prosecutor has done, I do not think you have any jurisdiction to continue with this matter. And if they say they have jurisdiction to continue, it means that two public institutions are against one person. One of them is the special prosecutor, the other is the police. What if they all arrive at different conclusions? If the police say that from the totality of our evidence, he has not committed any offense, what will the special prosecutor say? And if the police also decide that they will continue side by side with what the special prosecutor is doing, because no law debars them from doing their investigation, and they take the lead to arraign before the person before a court of competent jurisdiction, and he's tried and is acquitted, what can the special prosecutor do? Because we have double jeopardy rule. You cannot try a person twice for the same offense. So for me, he ought to have exercised restraint to allow the police who took the initiative to continue with their investigation.
You've asked very, very salient questions, and I'm sure it will be ringing in the minds of people as they are watching us right now. Any comment on that before we wrap this up?
No, I defer to him on the legal issue, but you see, from the ethical perspective, the challenge of fighting political corruption, I believe the special prosecutor is better placed. So I'll be even happier to see the police ceding the work to the special prosecutor, because this is a highly politically, this gentleman is politically exposed, and the special prosecutor is given that mandate. I'm not saying the police cannot do their work, but I think in this instance, I'll be happy to see the police leaving the matter with the special prosecutor. I believe there are two state institutions. They can come talk together,
collabo,
and say that, okay, let me handle it, and the police step aside, because it will be easy for somebody to step on the toes.
Maybe the special prosecutor wants us to see that he's working.
Yeah, and he must work. You see, the special prosecutor must work. And from where I sit, this is a major issue. It goes to the core of our development. And if we don't deal with it, if we don't get a scalp of one big fish, we can never overcome that challenge.
Frederick Ejaku Odro is a big fish.
at the Institute of Local Government Studies.
I'm an extremely small.
He's a dean for studies and research at that beautiful institute looking at issues of local government. Thank you so much. And Ahmed, Mr. Ahmed is a solicitor and advocate at Ahmed Legal Consult. Good to have the conversation with you, gentlemen. You've raised lots of questions on the local government issues, on legal issues, and I'm sure people will be having those conversations. Thank you so much. Wishing you a beautiful day, and just reminding you that this show is brought to you by kind courtesy of a whole bunch of sponsors that you want to. So there's We Prefer Drinking Water, Shield Acrylic Paint, Adonko Next Level Energy Drink. We've got Caveman Watches. Lufat brought us the erectile dysfunction conversation. Naviki Factions are responsible for these fantastic foods. And Valerie is responsible for taking us to Masi. She looks like a real Ashanti princess with a touch of India and some Ghana in it. Give me that smile.
It's a cocktail.
Yeah.
Right. I'm particularly excited for where we are keeping an eye. We are going to the old Menchia Palace where Alan is already on standby. He's going to be taking us on a tour. Who is as excited as I am? Well, stick and stay. Alan is behind me now, looking regal. Whoa, Alan, you went from 0 to 100 real quick. Hi, tell us what's happening.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for coming to us, Valerie. As you mentioned earlier, we're in the Menchia Palace at the moment, and behind me is the Menchia Palace Museum. This, we understand, used to house one of the occupants of Menchia Palace, one of the kings, and so it's only proper that we come from in front of it. You mentioned that we're going to go to the old Menchia Palace. We want to understand, first of all, what the old palace held in terms of culture and tradition, and whether or not it is different from what we currently have. And we're joined once again in no mean person, but the very man who brought us into modernizing Menchia in the person of Opening Safo Kantanka. He's going to join us once again, and then he is going to walk us through the history of the Menchia Palace, especially taken from the old palace to what we have currently. Opening, kindly join me. Thank you very much, and once again, you're welcome to GTV Breakfast. First and foremost, Opening, what we want to understand is the old palace. When we say, or when we mention the old palace, what exactly are we referring to?
We're referring to what is just behind us here, which is now the Menchia Palace Museum. Okay. That used to be the old palace.
Fantastic. We understanding is that before the occupant of this old palace did actually occupy it, he used to live somewhere. He lived somewhere actually before moving into occupy this. Would you walk us through that, please?
Yes, the very place where he lived was the very center of the city, and that is the place we now call the Military Museum. Okay. That was the place where the kingdom's palace stood.
Okay. Right. Now, having moved in here, obviously, we are also told that every occupant who's occupied the palace would also build something. What exactly and what specifically did they build?
Well, it is not as if it's a rule that every king who comes to build a palace. But this very one we are seeing, which is called the Old Palace, was occupied by King Prempeh I and then King Prempeh II. Right. King Prempeh Opokuwari, who came after Prempeh II, occupied it for some time and then built one behind it. When he moved from this one to the new one, he made this one a museum.
Right. Given that what we know paints a picture of a forward-looking monarchy or a forward-looking people, what do we know to be the content of the old palace in terms of culture and history?
Well, palaces, as we all know, more in particular, the Ashanti King's Palace is the center of history, culture, and tradition.
Fantastic.
So it also serves as a museum because almost every movement of the king is a moving museum.
Okay. Right. So what would the current palace hold that will be different from what the old palace held?
Well, the old palace was smaller, for which reason it had to be expanded. So the fact that it is a small palace suggests to you what it contained was not that much. So the King Opokuwari built another one, larger than what we are seeing now. So it contained offices, but this one does not. It was just built for the king to occupy it as a palace without offices. But what King Opokuwari built had offices.
For those of us who are not originally from this part of town, we heard stories and some sound more mythical, and obviously if you put two and two together it would be far-fetched to think that such a thing may even exist anywhere. One of such stories I heard was Menchia Palace Guards, but coming in here I realized everyone else looked like me. Please let demystify that mystery.
Well, that is very true. People who do not know the place have always conceived some myth around Menchia, but it's a place where everybody can walk in, except that you have to go through protocol. You don't just walk in, you have to know how to move your steps. So people who may have not followed the principles of coming to Menchia might fall victims of where maybe they will be questioned, or they will be, when they are questioned, they feel that, okay, it is an intimidation because why can't I walk in? But it is not a place to just walk in. It is a king's palace. Much as you cannot walk straight to the Buckingham Palace, you cannot do same when you come here too. So you have to go through directions, rules and regulations, even to get to the king. So people think that it is not even possible to see the king, but it is if you have to go through the right direction.
Well, having said that, we're looking forward because we came here for him. So it will be an honor to go before His Majesty the King. Now, before we kind of move on to the next one, obviously we're celebrating Ashanti culture, and so it would be only appropriate that we again walk through the museum, which is the old palace seated right behind us. Opening, if we should go into the museum, what are some of the things we may likely find which would point us to what we do not know about Ashanti history and culture?
Yeah, whatever you see, the decoration of the king or any chief, whatever you see make him look a king or a chief has history, philosophy and meanings, for which reason the museum was made so as to educate people on whatever you find around the king or the palace. So you can find almost everything that the king uses on his body and or around him in the museum. And it is sometimes kept there and used also on him. That is, it is the same thing which is used to decorate him. The guns that which guide him when he is moving are all found at the museum. Then the old things which are no more in use are also found there. And you can hear...
Let me cross over.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
You can hear stories about things that you find there. Right. You can find stools and how kings are installed.
All right.
Okay? It is all to demystify what people are thinking. The mystery, the mystics around everything is demystified. When you get in there, they will tell you the uses of the things that you see around the king. It has names, it has meanings, it has history, it has philosophy. And you can hear all this when you get to the museum.
Fantastic. It's unfortunate. Let me point this out to viewers this morning that the old museum, which also it represents or is the old palace, is currently under some renovation, and so we're unable to walk you through the things Openi Safukantanka has just mentioned. It is also not to say that in future, if you make your way into the palace, you won't be able to visit the museum. I am using this medium to whet your appetite so that at least you can make a date with the Menchia Palace. Openi, finally, before I let you go, supposing someone holds a certain view that not only do we have historically, as you mentioned the last time, Asantis or Akans being a proud people and would not take Medasi Abrao for anything, but would definitely want to say Efri Menim Ififremu. What other way do you think would be a good way to perceive a people such as the Akans?
Well, the Akan have almost everything in common. What unites the Akans is the fact that they are matrilineal. That is, wherever you go, anybody who calls himself or herself an Akan is patrilineal, is matrilineal. That is one. The way they dress, the way they do their things, the way they talk, they speak common language. That is the Chi language. And all can speak the Chi language. So that if you take the Fanti, sometimes people make the mistake of saying that they have the Fanti and they have the Chi language. But Fanti is also Chi, except that it is called Fanti Chi. Then we have the Nzema Chi, we have the Wasa Chi, whatever people, whatever a group of people call themselves, and point to the fact that they are Kans, then of course the language is Chi. So you mention the group and add Chi to it, then you get one single language for all the Akans, which is the Chi language.
Awesome. It's been great speaking to you once again, Openi Safukantanka. Well, we also, I'm not sure you're aware of it, but let me also bring this to the attention of our viewers that the palace has its own medium, a radio station known as the Opimswo Radio. And we have the rare opportunity to go in there later on today as we tour the palace. And so if you're in and around Kumasi, by all means, you can look forward to hearing my voice on the Opimswo Radio. It's been fantastic coming your way this morning on Keep an Eye from the Menchia Palace. It's still #GTV Breakfast. Back to you in the studio, Valerie.
Alan, before you get to me in the studio, we took over completely. Can you please ask Openi Kantanka? People are asking what Akwesidai is. We hear a lot of people, especially the Ashantis in Accra. Most of the time on Sundays, they go to the Ashanti region and say, Omoko Akwesidai. Can you please ask Mr. Kantanka what Akwesidai means? Because we are celebrating, we might as well know now.
It'll be a privilege to do so. Openi, a question has come from back room, and it's an effect that a lot of people wonder what Akwesidai is. Some will travel from far and wide, especially to hit the Sunday in Kumasi to celebrate Akwesidai. Please, what is Akwesidai and what does it hold?
Well, Akwesidai is a Twi word made up of two words. Akwesi and Dai. Kwesi, the Akwesi in there refers to Sunday, Kwesiada. Then Ade means a sleeping place. So it is believed that among their Akans, chiefs don't die. They live on. And everybody doesn't die. Everybody lives on after death. So the chiefs have gone to sleep. So the sleeping place of the chiefs is what we remember on every 40 days. That they are asleep and we have to send our prayers through them to the Almighty God. They are saints. They are closer, they have died and therefore closer to the Almighty God than we who are alive. So every 40 days is an Akweside. Then we have another 40 days for Akweside. The Akweside is smaller and the Akweside is bigger. Akweside has night happens 9 times within a year. Okay. The first Akweside or the last Akweside is often chosen as Akweside Kesie, which is bigger than the normal Akweside.
Thank you so very much. Well, Valerie, I think your question is answered. Akweside is celebrated every 40 days. There's 9 times of the celebration in a year, and the first and the last would normally be referred to as Akweside Kesie. That's it for you from the Menshire Palace.
Thank you, Alan. So for people like me who did not know why Ashanti friends go to the Ashanti region all the time, that they are going for Akweside, this is why they go, and that is what Akweside means. We are making sure it's possible by Awake Purified Water, Adonko Next Level Energy Drink, Shield Acrylic Paint, Cheesy Pizza, Lufat Caveman Watches, and then my side of the segment, my side of the breakfast table, which is the Yellow Couch. The lifestyle segment is by Kindness of Airtel Tigo. We're taking a quick break. We're going to have a conversation on the mining sector and alternative means of employment. We're taking a break.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is the
and they call me UJ. When you need a shoulder to cry, run on my pamper, so we try was suicide. Hey, let bygone be bygone. I didn't see what the body gonna do, we go straight to stardom. And I gonna take you to next level. My baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Energy next level. Back baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Take you to next level. My baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't code next level. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
I am 7 years old. Beep, beep, beep.
I am 4 years old.
We are 12 years old. It's been 1 year since I started my antiretroviral treatment.
You can live a long, productive life with antiretroviral treatment. With antiretroviral treatment, HIV-positive expectant mothers can have healthy HIV-negative babies. Go to the nearest health center, test and know your HIV status. If you are positive, ask about antiretroviral treatment and you will receive help. Antiretroviral treatment is your only option for a long and fulfilling life.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission and Ghana Health Service.
The show was a jar of bar and dim.
The groom is sick.
What?
Malaria.
Malaria. Lufat.
In Jija, woman malaria and can want to them. Lufat, a malaria drop a cope.
And now you may kiss the bride.
Entrance Pharmaceuticals and Research Center and I Lufat. Lufat, a 2 malaria sententem.
Our Ashanti fact for the day: the Asantehene remains seated when greeting all persons, and we are celebrating Ashanti Cultural Week this week on GTV Breakfast. We are doing this at the invitation of the Asantehene Otumfuo Seitutu II Nana Yemawachi Utrinkwa. We are having this conversation on the mining sector, and we are talking about ways that we can sanitize the sector. But there are other conversations that we do have across our social media platforms, and we are inviting you to come on as well so that you can keep yourself informed. So GBC is available on all social media handles. Find us on Facebook as Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Find us on Instagram, GBC Online. Find us on Twitter, GBC Ghana, and also on YouTube, the GBC Ghana. So there's a lot of content that we are not able to share on the live stream, and we have some behind the scenes information. We have things that you do not usually see on active screen. So follow our social media handles and be part of that journey as we seek to educate ourselves. We are sitting down today, again, another Wednesday, with the Minerals Commission, and we are looking at how to sanitize the small-scale mining sector and the measures the government has put in place to bring this whole issue of illegal small-scale mining, which we popularly come to call galamsey. We are looking at the efforts government is putting in place to reduce this to the barest minimum. Last week, the government launched the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program, and it was meant to be an alternative for persons who had engaged in illegal mining, who had lost their sources of livelihoods because of the clamp down on the illegal activity, to get a gainful means of employment, to get their own lives in order, and also sanitize the sector, save the water bodies, keep our environment safe. Last week we discussed the new system that the Minerals Commission had put in place called the Mining Cadastral Administrative System, MCAS, which is the online platform they are introducing at the Minerals Commission, and the go live date for that system coming on board is November 1, so that was on Monday. So the MCAS platform for the Minerals Commission is now live. It means that from here on out, you have to go online to submit all your documents in order to get any license at all from the Minerals Commission. Today, as I said, we're looking at the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program, and in the studio to help us understand the details of this program, Mr. Benjamin Ayi, an advisor on mining to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Mr. Ayi, good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
We are going to discuss the measures government has employed to tackle the illegal small-scale mining. First of all, there are those who have this perception that all small-scale mining activities are illegal, but we know that there are licensed companies who who prospect for gold on a very small scale. So not all small-scale mining operations are illegal. Would you like to clarify that?
Sure. Let me start off by saying thank you very much for the opportunity, and to say hearty greetings to your listeners, your viewers. Let me clarify prospecting. We often say prospecting when talking about small-scale mining. Prospecting has nothing to do with small-scale mining when licenses are granted. Prospecting means to find the mineral. So small-scale mining licenses are exploitation rights. Okay. So they are given to you to be able to mine. So you must have found the mineral before exploiting it, and so on. So that's the first clarification I want to make. And again, once licenses are given, you are supposed to follow a certain procedure, to ensure that you do things right. So obviously those who don't have licenses may not have been taken through the processes that one needs to do mining responsibly. So generally they have problems. But those who have licenses don't necessarily do the right thing all the time, which is also not acceptable. So the drive is generally to ensure that those who don't know what to do get to talk to the Minerals Commission so that they are guided to do the right things, ultimately getting a license to be able to operate. Then they can be given further advice and so on. But those who get to have a license as well, so that they understand exactly what they ought to do and do the right things. Because mining has the potential to cause significant damage to the environment, but also the communities and the people around it. So you don't want to do that unnecessarily. So you must know what you're doing and do it right. So that's very important.
So for those who have not received the license to go into mining, and for those who are into mining for the wrong reasons, so depleting our forests and polluting the environment, government has come down real hard on what we've come to call galamsey. And as a result of that action, some people have lost livelihoods. And that's why government is putting this alternative employment and livelihood program in place. What does it really entail? What does it offer to these persons who have now expressed their readiness to get into another means of making a life?
Maybe a little bit of background to that. His Excellency the President, at his last sessional address to Parliament during his first term, and indeed his inaugural one during the second term, did indicate that he was going to have broad stakeholder consultation to ensure that we are doing what we generally agree as a consensus position. So we had the national stakeholder dialogue along with some regional ones as soon as the new minister was put in place. So as part of the conversation, the decision from that dialogue, it was agreed that one of the key things we need to do is to up our game as far as enforcement of regulations, etc. is concerned. So His Excellency therefore endorsed what has been styled as Operation Halt 2, which is the military going out there to try to limit, if not eliminate completely, any mining activities on or near our water bodies, which were polluting them, and also in forests, etc. So that was sort of the goal, to ensure we limit the negative impacts and so on.
And so what has been the level of achievement for Operation Halt 2?
It's not achieved all we wanted to do. What we wanted to do was to clear up the water bodies completely. We have not achieved that clearly, because if you look at the number of the water bodies, they are still fairly milky and not as clear as we want to have them be. So we have not achieved completely that. But within a short space of time of their starting, we saw the clearing up of some of the water bodies, and till today, some are better than they were prior to the start. But we have not achieved that completely.
And one of the reasons for that is because people are still mining at what we've come to call the red zones. Explain the red zones to us and explain exactly why it's been so hard to stop these people who are engaging in this illegality.
The red zones are simply our water bodies and the lands that adjoin them and our forest reserves. So what we're saying is that, yes, a number of people are doing illegal things, not completely in conformity with the law. We have sometimes turned a blind eye on them because the impact is not that significant. But these areas styled as the red zones are areas which have major impact on all of us if the improper things are done. So the plan is to ensure that we rid those areas completely of illegal mining activities. In some instances, on the water bodies, for instance, we don't want any mining activities at all because they will negatively impact the water bodies. So generally, those are the red zones. So the Operation Halt was to work within the red zones largely to ensure that we rid them. So if you look at areas adjoining the water bodies, generally there's been some limitation of mining activities.
Why does it seem that the miners are so attracted to water?
Okay, two reasons. There are two types of mining generally in the small-scale mining sector. What they call the hard rock, which means excavating the hard rock, grinding it, if you may, and then washing it to come up with the gold and so on. So you need to be able to wash the material once ground. So that's for the hard rock. So you need water. And it's easier if you are nearer the water body to do that. The second type, which is described as alluvial, It's material that has been washed by water and deposited. And the deposition clearly will be either near or in the water bodies. And it's easier to mine because you don't have any crushing to do. So typically the small-scale miner who has little of capital to invest will be targeting that type of ore that he wants to extract. So that's an attraction to water. So generally if there's no water, you can't do much of mining, especially on the small-scale mining basis. So that's the attraction to water. So Operation Halt did attain some successes. That is why we have people who have been displaced. But let me say that there are some who are recalcitrant. Now they've resorted to mining at night. But let me serve them notice that the military, the security agencies are planning a new strategy for them. I wouldn't disclose that here, but they should be ready for it. Indeed, working together with those who are doing legal mining. We've got a number of task forces who are bringing themselves together to ensure that we deal with this holistically. So that is certainly going to happen. So they shouldn't think that this was a one-day wonder and it's over. It's not over.
So this thing you started some months ago where you were going around some of the forest areas, I believe that my producer Felix Kofi was part of the team. You've gone around a few. It's not just a one-off thing. It's something that we are to expect should continue.
Yeah, it's part of a big picture. So the security operations are going to continue with emphasis from the regional security councils rather than just from Accra, so that then they will be ready to act fairly quickly on these matters. And there have been examples. The Western region is doing a lot of that already, and other regions are going to follow suit. So the operators, illegal operators that is, should not think it's over. It's not. And there is a lot more that's going to happen in that field.
I'll go back to my earlier question on what in this alternative employment and livelihood program for those who have laid down their illegal mining tools and want to embrace this new initiative.
Yeah. So really the issue is that His Excellency the President and his government very keen on ensuring that we have livelihoods properly defined for as many Ghanaians, if not every Ghanaian, as possible. So given that some were displaced, although doing illegal activities, His Excellency and the Cabinet decided that we should find means of generating alternatives for them. And so our ministry was tasked to come up with this program. And the ministry came up with a set of 6 activities, if you may, which we are hoping will address the wide range of people we're talking about, from the miners themselves to their families which depend on them, through people who indirectly depend on their activities, and through other people who engage in all sorts of economic activities to support these activities. So it's quite a wide range of activities we are looking at. So having packaged these, we got cabinet approval, and then subsequently this was tabled in Parliament as part of the media review of the budget for this year. And so I'll go through
the 6 activities.
Yes, these activities,
okay,
so that we get to know what they are. The first 3, which are directly related to our ministry, involve what we have described as responsible, viable, and sustainable mining. And we chose the words very carefully. Responsible, viable, and sustainable small-scale mining. I'll come back to it. Then to support that activity, we tried again to improve mine support services, which will support that activity. But as I did indicate earlier, once you engage in mining, you impact the environment to some extent. So we have some legacy issues as far as negative impacts on the environment. So the third one we targeted was the National Land Reclamation and Reforestation Program. So it is to ensure that we physically reclaim lands that have been impacted and then to replant economic trees on them. So that's the third. So these 3 are generally things that fall directly within the remit of our ministry. So we are championing this directly. But beyond that, as I said, we are not just looking at miners, but we're looking at people who depend on them as well. And they lost economic livelihood as well. So there are 3 others. which we are looking at, mainly agro-processing. There's a lot of agricultural initiatives which the Ministry of Agric is doing. We think that we can improve that by adding value to the output of these agric initiatives. So agro-processing is a big thing that we're looking at. We're working largely with the Ministry of Trade and Industry to get to do some of these things. Then, of course, we have the apprenticeship and entrepreneurship wing of it, which is to just develop people to be able to generate for themselves incomes through businesses and improving their businesses largely. And the last one, which is sort of an innovative one, is the enhancement of sustainability of the livelihood schemes. And this is largely to improve community, economic and social activities.
How are we finding the people who fit any of these 6 activities that have been identified, or these ways that people can attach themselves to make a livelihood for them? What's the criteria?
The target is displaced illegal miners and people who depend on them in various ways.
We are hearing that they made a lot of money from illegal mining activities in the thousands of cities, sometimes on a daily basis, from what we've been told. Is this going to bring them that same level of income that they are used to, which would make them more likely to stay with the activities more long term?
If you look at the illegal mining group that we are looking at, it's a homogeneous group. It is a range of people doing different activities. You can start from what we call the sponsors, who are really the financiers. They fund the activities. They can make lots of money if they find a good place. We're told they could make up to 3,000 cedis in a day to a week. Depends on how good the place is. Down to those who are basically supervisors of the operations. And they could be making about 1,000 day to a week. But you then come to the actual miners, who are really the majority of about the 1 million people who we think are displaced. This group, this latter group, the miners themselves, constitute about 80%. So they are really the focus of these initiatives. And they we expect to be making of the order of about 900 cedis per week. A lot of people don't make that.
So I'm asking again, obviously money to be made there. 80% of 1 million people being minors. So you are targeting them for the first 3 that you mentioned. Yep. So you want them to move from illegal to legal. Is that what you're saying? And to adopt the standards in the industry that make for responsible mining.
Yes.
Okay.
So really, maybe let me quickly add that in the illegal realm, it's high risk. You may or may not make anything at all, because you know that the security guys might come after you. Again, you go to land, nobody has checked to find whether there's any minerals. So you go there to work, you may not make anything for a day, week, or month. So what is the key attraction to getting into the regularized realm is we are finding areas suitable for small-scale mining. And we are supporting in various ways. I'm sure the Minerals Commission has mentioned some of the things they're doing, including putting them together and supporting them to operate efficiently. Providing equipment, for instance, to help them to recover the gold which they break their back to mine out. Unfortunately for them, because it's illegal, because they don't know exactly what they're doing, we're told that they recover somewhere between 30 to about 50% of the gold they mine. The rest is waste. They have lost money. Ghana has lost because we cannot go back to recover that gold anymore. So the Minerals Commission, under the auspices of the ministry, has invested in equipment to help improve this. And each of these community mining schemes, which is the responsible, viable and sustainable
mining
drive that we are pushing, is going to get one of these equipment at least. And that improves recoveries to about 90%. So you can imagine the difference.
So let's bring this home a little bit. Someone who was into the illegal act decides that, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. And they approach you and say, I want to be part of this program. how do they access you, and then what happens after they've come to you to say, we want to be a part of this?
Okay. The Minerals Commission has offices across the country, and we are encouraging people to go to these offices and say, I want to get into small-scale mining. If you already have a place in mind, they will check it out for you, and if it's not suitable, they will tell you, and then help you find an alternative. Again, there are areas we already know of, some of which had been explored previously by large-scale mines, and which we have negotiated to get for small-scale mining. So we're targeting them for these community mining, as we call them, the responsible, viable, sustainable mining. So groups of these miners are put together to work on such areas, to do it responsibly under the supervision of technical personnel, to ensure it's being done right, but also to ensure that it is responsibly done but viable. If it's not viable, none of the other things we're thinking about is going to happen.
And that's why you're bringing the technologies that increase the recovery rates to about 90%.
Yes. But beyond that, also ensuring that between the Minerals Commission and the Geological Survey, they are finding areas suitable which have enough of resource to be mined. If you don't have resource, you can put in the best technology, you won't make any money. So that is also very important as part of this package that we are bringing to the fore.
So is it a system that they get an allowance every month?
No, that's why I say the people we are targeting is a rich. The people who already have money to invest in mining, these are the sponsors. If you cut them out, they will attract people into illegal mining still. So within the big picture, what we're trying to do is get these people to invest in the community mining. So they become sort of the sponsors of the community mining. So they're still investing in mining, but not illegal mining. And so they get to pay the miners themselves still, because they are business people. They want to make money, they get people to work for them, and they make a return and pay the workers. So that's still the framework. So we are migrating them from illegal operations to legal operations which are done right, and then eliminating, if possible, the negative impacts. That's sort of the context.
Mr. Ayi, now that you've mentioned negative things, it brings sharp focus on the issue of smuggling of gold. In recent times, we've heard that Ghana's gold is being smuggled across our borders to other countries, and you're very concerned about that because that means we are losing money. Yeah. How serious is it, and what are we doing to stop this?
It is a suspicion we have, and we have reason to believe that's the case, although we have not really caught people red-handed. The reason is this. Over the last 5 years or so, the small-scale mining sector has contributed about 30% of the total gold production of the country. But since last year, there's been a decline in the contribution. And this year is extremely stark. Indeed, this year we expect that the contribution will be no more than 5%. And you ask why? It's a challenge we have tried to investigate.
So you're thinking if it's not coming to the government of Ghana, then it's going somewhere else?
It must be going somewhere else. Because it's
but you're sure that the mining rate is the same, so we are still putting in the same number of hours and with the same resources, presumably. I mean, I don't pretend to know much about mining.
It's about the same, probably even more. Production we expect to be more, because more people are getting into it through the community mining and so on. So then the question is, what is happening?
Could it be the withholding tax?
Well, our strong suspicion is that it is part of it. There must be other reasons. The reason I say that is that last year, if you did look at the production trend for last year, whilst there was a decline throughout the year, except for October, something happened. There was an increase in the security swoop to check smuggling and so on. So suddenly, the amounts that were brought into the official channels increased. So that was the only time that it happened. So that gives us reason to believe that smuggling must be a very key part of our not getting small-scale miners contributing to that. Now, question is why? Our suspicion is that the withholding tax, which was imposed by government, is a major contributor to that. So what can we do about it? Having had quite a lot of discussion around this matter, government is looking at reviewing that tax, possibly downwards, along with a number of other measures to ensure that even as we broaden the net for small-scale miners contributing to the development of our country, at the same time, it is not too onerous. And indeed, government has been willing to do that in the past. If you look at the law originally, it imposed a 10% rate. Given discussion with industry, it was reduced to 3%. But as we look at the sub-region, the rate is of the order of about 1 to 0.5% compared to other. Yes. So government is looking at dealing with that, and we believe that that will address to a large extent.
Mr. Ayu, your final comment on this alternative program and the prospects for those who may be interested before we wrap. A quick one.
The government is keen on getting this done. In fact, His Excellency the President is so keen on it that he keeps asking how far we have gone since the approval. So currently an acting director has been appointed to champion the project, and she's working with the Minerals Commission to ensure that we drive all these fronts. But as I did say, we have started with the three which directly affect us. We are pushing, indeed as I speak, we have launched 5 community mining schemes already, which we are expecting would generate of the order of about 26,000 jobs, already absorbing some of the illegal miners into this. We are expecting that by the end of the year we would have some more. But to even streamline the procedure, the scheme more, Friday, that is 2 days down the line, we're going to Takwa. One of the things we are doing going to Takwa is to ensure that we put in place what we call the model scheme, model community mining scheme, to ensure that they have things like washrooms, they have changing rooms, and they put in place a system to ensure that things are being done properly, not just haphazardly like they were doing under the illegal mining scheme. So this is being done alongside promoting people getting into it. So there's no shortfall in people wanting to get into it. It is government having the resources to expand the front, and government is willing to do that. So government is doing that very keenly, along with, of course, the reclamation, fiscal reclamation, and working with Forestry Commission, reforesting.
Thank you so much for spending time with us this morning to explain the government initiative, which is the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program, an alternative for illegal miners who want to become legit. The aspect that has to do with mining is giving them the opportunity to legalize their act and mine more responsibly. Responsible, viable and sustainable mining is the way to go, according to the advisor on mining to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Benjamin Ayi. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayi, for being here. We've been doing our time with the Minerals Commission. Today is actually time with the Minerals Commission and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources as they seek to tackle the issue of illegal mining. There's another interesting discussion we are about to have on using technology, and the CSIR is spearheading a drive to manage waste. We'll be back to go into those details right after this break.
I was working on myself for my breakdown, and I don't. It's me nice, so from 7, I know better to bread, so me not no. It's hard to tell you, and you. Me no 1, 2, 3, 4, now me 4. Yo. It's hard to tell you, and you. Then I go 3, son, I'm a grow. Yo.
We're asking the question this morning, how do you manage waste in your home, in your offices, if you work in a market, wherever you are, how do you manage waste? Do you sort them before you dispose them, or do you just put everything in one? So it's something that we all need to consider very carefully. What is the right and environmentally friendly way to dispose of our waste? The Council for Scientific and Industrial Research Institute of Industrial Research, together with its partners, are undertaking a project known as Accelerating the Adoption of the Circular Sanitation Demonstration System. Accelerating the adoption of the Circular Sanitation Demonstration System. And it's a project that is seeking to get improved outcomes when it comes to our waste management. So we want to understand what this new system have sent us and these details. For my far left, Dr. Kofi Benefo, research scientist from CSIR, IIR, and the technical expert of the Actuate project. Sir, welcome. Right next to him, Mr. Suleimana, headmaster of Umar Bin Khattab Islamic Basic School at Medina Zongo. Thank you very much. You are a beneficiary school of this Actuate project. So I just want to understand, accelerating the adoption of the Circular Sanitation Demonstration System. A long sentence which simply means what, Doc?
Yeah, we coined it and call it Actuate. And then picking it from the end, it's looking at a demonstration that is a setup which is used in explaining how waste is managed. And in the school curriculum, they have biogas system in it. So it's going to support the biogas system that is in the curriculum that the schools have.
And I'm asking, what is it exactly? Is it like a litter bin? What does it look like?
Okay, it's a container. Let's take any of the plastic containers that we use to store water. We virtually call all of them polytank. Any of those ones can be used as a way of generating biogas, and it's a waste to energy system. So anything that can ferment, if you take, let's say, two things, you take banana peel and then you take a glass, you bury it in the ground. After 2 weeks, 6 months, you go, you won't see the banana peel, but you see the glass there. So the glass does not ferment, but the banana peel ferments. So anything that can ferment, if you put it in what we have designed, it is not a new technology. It's an old system that exists, but we are introducing it and then making it popular in our system. So it's then able to generate energy, which is basically called biogas from a biological system, which is fuel and can be used for various things, including cooking, heating, and even in cars.
How did you come up with this idea for the institute that you are attached to?
Well, CSIR, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, it is the research wing for Ghana. So if you're talking about research, there are the universities. They do about 30% of research and 70% teaching. And then we at the CSIR do 70% research and then 30% teaching. So in our research, we have a number of divisions. And then my division is energy division. So under the energy division, and one of the research activities includes the waste to energy. But we do that with another division, which is environmental. So it's divisional research work. So it's one of the area of expertise that we're doing that.
Mr. Suleimana, how did the school, Umar Bin Khattab Islamic Basic School, get picked to, I suppose you are piloting to see how the children receive it, and the teachers as well? How did you get your name on that list?
Thank you very much. CSIR was doing a bigger project called Circulate within the Zongo, Medina Zongo community, where they were testing the source of water contamination, whether through the pipes storage, I mean the source of the water, like the dams, rivers, whatever. So they were doing that project within the Madina Zongo community, and it got to a point they needed to install a weather station, so that they will use the weather station to be able to measure all kinds of weather within the Madina, Adenta, Amasama enclave. So they were looking for space to do that. So or a school to do that. So they contacted me. I consulted my superiors, who is the proprietor of the school, Sheikh Tairo, and the school management committee members. They agreed, and we willingly give our space for the weather station to be installed. So coming along from this recirculate, so actuate is basically the baby of the recirculate. So when they were looking for a place to install the biodigester for what we are currently having to take place, they contacted me, and then I willingly also gave space. I mean, we are using the school septic tank for that. But then there are other partners. So Lancaster University is spearheading the process, and CSR Ghana is leading the Ghana team. So that we're supposed to write a supporting proposal for Lancaster University to win the bid at the Global Challenge Research Fund through UK Research and Innovation. So we wrote our proposal to support that bid, spearheaded by CSR Ghana. And then the bid went through, across the world, and then that's where we are, and then we benefited from the project.
So what does it mean in actual practice, this system that has been installed? Does it mean that when you, for example, sweep the school compound and you're going to dispose the waste, you treat it in a certain way? What kind of waste are you putting together, and how does the system actually work for the school?
Great. The production of the gas using the waste is practically yet to start. However, what we intend to have supplied with the bins is to first of all segregate the waste. So if we get the waste from the school, so we first of all we segregate them. But the waste is not necessarily just coming from the school; it will also come from the community. So landmarks were used to identify homes, and children have been trained who also bring the bio-waste from homes.
When you say bio-waste, what
that is any food-related waste, any waste material that ferments. Yam peels, cassava peels, leftover banku, kenke, all of those. So they'll be made to bring the waste from their respective homes, and that of the same bio-waste from the school will be fed into the biodigester, using the fecal matter in the septic tank to be able to generate the gas for the purpose for which we are heading towards.
So it's clean energy for you as well, isn't it?
Yeah, because currently, if you take the LPG, we're getting it from the fossil fuel, and it has its own implication, which is leading to the bigger picture of the climate change. But this biofuel that we're looking at is coming from our own bioresources, and therefore it is not going to have any effect as such on the environment, and that is part of what we call the clean energy. And like what is saying, the waste that the children are going to bring for the community is part of this educating the community. It's not going to be a place, let's say a baller, where you come and then there's a whole lot of no. Our system is just a demonstrational one, a small one. So the children have been trained, that is in a school, to bring small quantities of waste which can be managed by the digester. So it's not going to be a place where it's like everybody brings a whole barrel of waste and then have to go and manage. No, it's not a boiler center.
World leaders are meeting in Glasgow, Scotland, and the key is climate change and how human activity affects the environment immediately and in the long term. Do you expect that systems like this, if embraced on a bit more higher level, could help change things in any way?
Yeah, directly, because it's part of what we call the renewable source of energy. Yesterday I was listening to the COP26 and they were mentioning methane, and then in what we are doing, it is trapping the methane. What happens is that, see, let me use our locator, the boiler that we put there, then it starts fermenting and it gives out gases. One of the gases that is methane, and it just goes into the atmosphere and it affects our environment. By this time, we are putting this boiler in an enclosed system, so the kind of methane that will be generated is being controlled. So we're not just releasing any gas into the environment. So what we're doing fits directly into that international meeting.
And I wonder, Headmaster, how the children have embraced this technology. You're seeking to educate them and the community. How has it been received, even within Medina?
It's overwhelmingly received. We sought to sensitize the children, and then we use even 2 sessions. I mean, for each of the days that we sensitize them, and then Dr. Benifu was even a part of the training to work on the technical component of what we discussed. So the children from basic 4 up to junior high 3 have all gone through the training, and then to sensitize them about the benefits of the project and how they were ready to embrace it, and then to take the full advantage of what it entails. Even the parents of the children were also invited, and they have also been taken through the process, and then they appreciate, they are ready and to sustain, to protect, and to make sure that the project is sustained within the community.
I understand there's a show lab.
Yes.
What is that?
Yes, the show lab is basically the results of what transpires at the digester. In the show lab, the gas that is produced at the biodigester is transferred through a lead pipe into the show lab. So in the show lab, there's a lamp that the gas will be used to light the lamp, and then a stove that it will be used to also generate gas for heating, for boiling, for cooking, and all kinds of laboratory related issues that will be done by teachers and students within the laboratory to enhance the teaching and learning of science and that of research.
Is it something you're actually using in the school? Because if you're generating biogas, for example, and you can use it to cook and other stuff as you're saying, are you actually using it in the school?
For now, we are still in the process of generating the gas. So there's they have fed the fecal matter and with cow dung that from CSR that was brought. We are waiting for the gas to be generated. We are monitoring the meter reading within some few days. I mean, there will be gas in the balloon which will be transferred into the lab for that purpose to commence.
Were you surprised at some of the findings of, or is it, can I even say the findings? Were you just surprised at how the setup works? So we have all these theories and diagrams, but to actually see it come to life in front of you, how was that like for you, your teachers, and the pupils?
It was something that was like a mystery. I mean, that be using gas in our respective homes, we didn't know how the process come about, and only for us to get to know that even fecal matter in the septic tank, which costs a lot to the school, and for that matter, the community waste generated from the school homes will be used to generate gas. I mean, for those people. So it was something surprising to us, but because of the sensitization that have gone on, I mean, amongst students, teachers, community members, we've come to appreciate the fact that it is doable and possible. And we are waiting for the first gas to be produced, and then for us to mark, I mean, that particular day.
It sounds like there's some excitement going on in that school. Now I want to go there and see for myself. But yeah. Dr. Benefo, what's the plan to do this on a large scale? Because only headmaster and his pupils and teachers are benefiting from this. There are others who may be interested.
Yeah, for this particular one, that was a sponsored project from Lancaster University. So the funding is coming from them, and it's limited to the school, even though there has been an extension of a smaller project where currently 5 other of such schools we are engaging them. They may not have the same size as we have, but then yesterday the lead will discuss with me if we can have just a small realistic one that they can do to produce some amount of gas to know that this works. So with the 5 schools, we're hoping to do that. But on the large scale, it will basically need funding. For the human capacity, we are available, and then I'm a government worker, I'm paying a salary. So getting me to do that work does not necessarily mean that I have to be paid again. It may be my transportation and then other little things. But if there's a resource, there's the money to be able to buy the containers, it won't be a difficult thing. And once we do it in one school, currently being a pilot, it can be done in other schools. It's a facility that is used by all kinds of organizations. Instead of throwing your waste away, that can be used to generate energy. So it becomes like generating your own gas for usage.
So we are seeing we've just seen certain scenes this is the current situation, something that we are trying to change. So waste being dumped indiscriminately, there's no sorting, and obviously a huge environmental threat and a risk as well, cholera outbreaks and whatnot. You're trying to change all that by introducing a cleaner way of doing things, which includes waste segregation. So it's a lot like the compost system. You need to sort those bits that you want out and then leave out the ones that you don't want to generate the kind of clean energy that we are seeing on the screen. What can you tell us about what we are seeing?
Yeah, this is the current system that is within the school, and it's a 1.5 meter cube system. You know, if we talk about waste, we can break it into the ones which are non-disposable, that's biodegradable, the ones which cannot ferment, and then all others that can ferment. And we have different ways of handling them. So the ones which can ferment is our focus here in this particular project. And then currently we saw the solar panel. The system is being powered by the solar panel because there are some motors, and then it means that it can be done in places where there's no electricity. It doesn't limit you. And then this particular one was built on the septic tank. So we take the septic waste and then we'll pass it through this biogas, and then it will be able to generate energy. And then this particular one that is showing is a macerator. A macerator is like a blender. So if you bring the waste, then you pour it in.
All your cassava peels, banku leftovers, and that goes into that.
Yeah, it goes into that.
And then it gets blended somehow, and it goes into another chamber.
So what is being shown now, that when you open it, it will stop blending because you have a blade in it. We close it and then it will blend again. That is a safety device for the system. So the waste now will be piped through, so we're opening that side which is being shown. Then it will go down into a withholding tank. You mix it with water and then it's pumped through up there. This one can be called just like the mouth. It's similar to how we eat. And this is just showing how the solar system would work. You need the sun's energy and then it powers it. It's stored also in a battery which can be used. The system is also stirred. So this one is how you can stir it, and it's manually. So this one can be done by the children in the school. Just a little bit of training. It's just like a car steer that you are turning, and then to stir the system inside, and it will produce the biogas which is piped into the show lab. So it's just a matter of creating your own gas instead of, let's say, taking an empty cylinder to go and then buy gas. Now your waste in your house is what you can turn into the gas.
So then the waste doesn't need to be emptied as we know it now?
Yeah, so let's say if you're taking your kitchen waste, when you have put them together, then you send it into the digester instead of putting it in another bin and then adding all other waste unsorted and finally taking it outside for, in my area, is a Zoom Lion who comes to take it, so we change it.
Right. How much does this system cost?
For this particular one is a demonstrational one, and then we haven't costed it, but it looks more expensive than the real thing. That is, if we had to commercialize it, it will be cheaper than what we're seeing here.
So if persons want to contact you, partner you, or to even be a part of this project, how do they contact? How did they reach you?
Well, CSR, we just opened. There are 13 institute of us. You walk into any one of them. If you are lost, you'll be directed to the right place. But we are located at East Legon near American House. And then we have a website where our contacts are there. If my contact is needed, I can give, but we are not supposed to do. My phone number is 0244 487648. Just repeat it. 0244 487648.
Okay. And Headmaster, in case people want to have a look at this system to sort of get an idea of how it works and how it will benefit them, tell us, how do we find your school and how can we reach you?
Well, you can, just like how you contact, you can also contact us through mobile phone, number that I may share so that you can be directed to the school by situated in Medina Zongo. So 020 66 23 279.
Right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just excited watching it because it seems like something that the kids could really get into. I think I'll pass by the school and have a look at the system myself. CSIR, we wish you well. Enjoy the demonstration system that has been set in place for you, and hopefully it helps us going forward to think about waste a bit more appropriately, waste disposal in particular a bit more appropriately. Thank you for what you're doing. Dr. Kofi Benefo is a research scientist from the CSIR IIR, and is the technical expert of the Actuate project. Actuate is accelerating the adoption of the circular sanitation demonstration system. So it's something new that they brought on to use waste. So waste that is fermented and used somehow, it's generating some kind of energy, biogas. You can use it for all manner of things, and CSIR is spearheading that, and Lancaster University has partnered them to set up a system at the Umar Bun Hattab Islamic Basic School in Medina, and the headmaster, Mr. Imoru Suleimana, has been sharing the experience of the pupils, the teachers, and the school community in general with us. Thank you, Mr. Suleimana, and thank you as well, Dr. Benefo. So hopefully you've learned a little more about waste management. Let's try and start with the basics. Let's start with waste so that when we are disposing them, go to different places and we don't make things more difficult for those who want to do compost or recycle or any of those things. So CSIR is doing that, and they are asking that if you want to partner them, you should go to any of their offices and they will get you in touch with the right people and they'll offer you the advice that you need. Breakfast is live on GTV. We'll be right back after the break.
From the top,
The Almighty Street.
Welcome to the warmer side of the couch, the yellow segment. This segment wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Airtel Tigo. So, as we do every time, we take a quick detour to find out what Airtel Tigo has in store for Ghanaians. And then when we come back, we'll meet my guy. His name is Tino GH. So here's a quick break.
Your humble servant, was a very tough year. 2021, first, we talk about getting to
Redeemer by Hearts Boy. Shall I no get about?
GBC Breakfast, we like to unearth talents and budding musicians and musicians who are coming up. We are spending our spotlight today with Tino GH. Tino, welcome to the set of
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you.
Yeah, it's been a while.
4 or 5 years?
Yeah, probably I think almost 4 years or a little bit more.
What song did you release then?
Okay, I think it was From Afar. Yeah, I think it was From Afar.
Okay, so 4 or 5 years was the last time we had a chat concerning your music. So where have you been? What have you been up to? What's happening in your world?
So much happened, time went by, and I think I use all those time space to actually like learn more, grow myself, and then to better my craft. Yeah, so that was what I'm up to.
Okay, so From Afar, the next single you released was with Medical, the one we saw earlier.
Yeah.
And then your latest song is...
Olufumi.
Say that again.
Olufumi.
Are you half Nigerian, half Ghanaian?
No. I actually picked the name because it fits like right.
You haven't even answered my question. You are going on to another question. And like, are you Nigerian?
No, I'm not a Nigerian.
You're full Ghanaian.
Full Ghanaian.
Full-blooded Ghanaian.
100%.
So why is your song titled Olufumi?
You know, normally as a Ghanaian, most people been using those common names, and I feel like I wanted to go outside of the box, and also the name actually fit on what I was doing, so that's how come I picked the name.
Okay, so what's Olufumi about?
Olufumi is just like a poor guy in love with a girl, and the girl is also in love with a rich guy, but at the end of the day, the rich guy wasn't treating her right the way she's supposed to be treated as a girl, you understand, a lady. So me being poor, and then I love her that much, she wasn't seeing that part of me. So I was mostly like stalking her. Yeah, I've been stalking her, just try to prove to her how much I love and care about her. But at the end of the day, she came to me, so big ups Olufumi.
Well, is this Olufumi? Is it inspired by a real life story? Is it your own story?
No. You know, myself, I'm very creative when it comes to music.
Right.
If you listen to some of my songs, I can go off, you know, off key. I like doing something strange, things that people don't do. Yeah. So even if you should listen to the voice I use in recording the song, most people say it sounds like Samini. Some people say it sounds like what's the name of that guy? That other guy with the raga voice, I've forgotten the name. So, Screwface, yeah. So most people say it sounded like, but I actually never had none of them on mind though. It was just like me being myself and trying to bring something original out there. So. Okay.
So what's the kind of music you make called? I mean, there's so many genres these days.
Yeah.
Which one? Under which genre would you put yourself?
Specify myself. I feel like if I'm being asked this question all the time, if I should mention like, you know, I'm specifically doing this genre of music, I feel like I'm cheating the other side. I can do both. I can do dancehall music, I can rap, I can sing, I can do.
You're an all-rounder.
All-rounder, yeah. So.
Okay. So Olufumi is about a poor girl meets a girl.
No, poor guy.
Poor guy meets a guy. A girl.
Yep.
She falls in love with a richer guy.
Yeah.
The poor guy struggles to still get his girl.
Yeah.
And then finally, she left all the riches and came back to you. You said it's not a real life story thing.
No, it's not a real life story. Okay. It's a made up story.
Right.
Yeah.
Tino, what's your full name? What's your real name?
Yarim Suleiman Yusuf.
Why are you called Tino GH?
Tino GH, trust in no one.
Trust in no one.
Yep.
Oh, that's solid. Tino, I like that. But let's have you do Olufumi before we go and watch the video.
Okay.
So let's have you do it.
Okay. Olufumi bahamo mini wajo wazonto. Kako wame fisa uwana mi pewo. Baby, you have to die for your love, oh. Die for your love, oh. Anything you want, baby girl, come on and take it, oh. Come and take it, oh. Olufumi, you just make my heart a beat, boom, boom, cha. When I see you, I don't know what to do. I can't breathe, I can't think. Look at my feet, I just freeze in my dirty kambu.
Boom boom cha.
Yeah.
I like that place, boom boom cha. So, still GTV breakfast. We're spending time with Tino GH on the yellow cow. Tino means trust in no one. So we are taking a break to his video. Is it first time airplay?
No, I'm sorry.
It's not first time airplay. It doesn't matter. We're still going for Olufumi by Tino GH.
When I was done recording the song, one of my artists, she's Black American, I played the song in the studio. She was there with her boyfriend, which both of them are artists. So when the song was being played, she just flew. She was like, she's having these goosebumps. And she isn't the first person that told me that though. That was when I felt like, no, I think there's some magic in this song. So
That's good feedback.
Yeah.
But guess what? There's somebody from Ajenkotoku who has sent us a WhatsApp message. Her name is Hega. I don't know if you know her, but she says, please tell Tino GH that I love him so much. He sent you a red heart. And also he should continue his hard work. Actually, this Hega is not this Olufumi in the song. Right. You know, now let's come to you as an artist. How would you call yourself? Would you call yourself an emerging artist, an already made artist, upcoming artist? How would you call yourself?
Wow. I think in between. I'm in between, because if I say I'm already made artist, that means like I'll be, when they are mentioned the A-listed artists in Ghana, I will be part of it. So I'm in between now, because the more I keep doing, like, yes.
So are you a rising artist then?
Yeah, I'm a rising artist. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
So because like almost every day my fan base kind of grow, and also I'm getting more feedback on my IG too, and so we are getting there.
Right, Gino, Tino, I said Gino, sorry, I beg your pardon. What would you say has been your biggest setback since you started your musical journey? How long has it been since you started professionally singing?
Professionally, 8, 9, 10 years.
Getting to 10 years, give and take. So what has been your biggest setback, Tino?
The biggest setback is, many people, I don't know to say whether they are scared of supporting the upcoming. Many people have this mentality of sticking to the artists, and they are not even trying to pay attention to the others or mobile, you understand? So that is the main problem. No matter how good production, like you put in your production, it is very difficult to get people's attention to it. You have to go extra mile before people pay attention. Yeah, so that's a setback.
So it's just the attention.
The attention.
Okay, how about getting the finances? That's a big challenge too to a lot of rising artists. How have you managed to maneuver your way up to this point?
Let's say since I think we last spoke, I focus more on the engineering aspect of it, mixing, machines, stuff like that, and that has been part of my income, the source of my income. That's part of it. And then secondly to say a crowd boy, the pack movement there. Sharp one.
Well, you have another lover. He loves your music. He says Olufumi is fire with 3 fire emojis, and this is Frank Lukunu from Hachu Westland. He says deep mad vibe. Tune is a banger.
Big ups, I appreciate it.
Right. Do you think we have a music industry?
I think we do, but we have to do some citizenness, a lot of talkings, a lot of arrangement, and then to get into place before we can even try to compete with the Nigerians.
Okay. Yeah. Let's not even talk about competing with Nigerians right now. What would you want to see changed in this music industry that will help rising artists like yourself come into the limelight?
I beg you, the media houses, you guys, for try to be soft on the upcoming artists, try to give them the platform. It's not easy, you understand. And also the population also have to try to pay attention, especially, you can even have a friend next to you, but the friend doesn't play your song, so you'll be playing somebody else's song. But forgetting that when he or she needs like help or whatsoever, the person cannot go to that A-list artist or whoever he or she's playing the song of, you understand, for their favor. At the end of the day, it's going to be the person next to you that you can speak to or concerning anything favor you want or whatsoever. So friends have to support friends. Support your own, I beg you. That'll be all.
Yeah, that's it. Before we wrap up, can you give us your social media handles, where to find you, and then also your final words?
Okay, social media, Instagram Tino GH, Facebook Tino GH, everywhere Tino GH, yeah.
TINOGH.
Yep. So my final word is going to be like stay positive and
no, say that again. I didn't even hear you. How are viewers here? What did you say?
Yeah, sometimes I speak very fast though. I get that.
Slow down.
Stay right, stay positive, Charlie. Just focus. Whatever your dream is, just don't give up. Always keep pushing.
I love Olufumi. Are we going to have any new bangers from Tino before the year ends?
Yeah, of course. And also, many are telling me I should stick to the style of Olufumi. They are telling me, but they don't know that it came, and I cannot stick to one style. But of course, I'll try to bring something similar.
Okay, you have another message coming in. It says, big up Tino GH. This is young Jemmy.
Okay.
Right, and so that's your fans are letting you know they are watching you. Thank you, Tino. We are wishing you success on your musical journey.
Can I big up some couple of people? Can I give a shout out to some couple of people?
Real quick.
Yeah, real quick. I want to say big ups to Nana Mafu for the support since day one. Yo, Mia, big ups to you, Madout, Charlie, all the TMF fans, Kobe Rich, Charlie, I appreciate the love always. And big ups to yourself too. You're always holding me down. So.
The whole GTV, like my team, our team is solid.
Yeah, I appreciate
we are getting a lot of messages for you. This one says, hello, good morning. I'm King Kelly from Kotoku. Okay. Please, Tino GH, I want the meaning of Tino. Kelly, you've not been watching the show. Tino means trust in no one.
Yep.
So we are going to go and watch Tino's song Olufumi, which is currently on everywhere. Is on all the
everywhere.
Yeah, and so you can go on all the streaming apps and share his music, share his stuff, guys. And so we are going for Olufumi now.
Olufumi ba mo mi ni wajo wa zonto. Kaku ame pise uwara mi pe wo.
That bit, that time on the yellow couch with Tino GH, and he's a rising star, guys. Go and share his music. I know you listened to it, you watched the video. I liked it. I know you liked it too. But I have Cuff and T. They've joined me on the yellow couch. Guys, what's up? Pardon me. I keep saying, guys, I'm going to next week. I'll look for something new to say.
Okay, so the erectile dysfunction conversation is causing a lot of waves in the system. You guys want the WhatsApp number, so this is the WhatsApp number for Dr. Richard Egan. It's +44 7448 369 303. Again, +44 7448 369 308. That's the number for the erectile dysfunction doctor. So if you have any issues, they say, Charlie, 3 to 7 minutes is okay.
3 to 7 minutes is okay.
It's
Somebody
great.
sent a WhatsApp message and said 3 to 7 minutes is just a starter for someone.
In the job, 7 average.
Right, guys, we're still celebrating the Ashanti Cultural Week all week. So tomorrow you see us again in a different colorful set of kente and accessories. Cuff might surprise you guys and
I understand on Thursdays in Malaysia, that's when they do the burial. So I may come up in the funeral.
Right, guys.
Black smoke or black cloth.
So, guys, remember to follow us on our social media handles. YouTube is Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, Facebook, Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, Twitter, GBC Ghana, Instagram, GBC Online. And remember that when you are following us, remember to look out for the handle or the account that has the blue tick. That signifies that it's a verified account, and so whatever content is being shared from there is authentic content from GBC.
Yes. Generous Valerian.
The hashtag to follow is GTV Breakfast. We'll see you again. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
6 a.m.
See you tomorrow for another edition.